What's good, one and all? This is the Peace Dealer, and yeah, I hope y'all are ready for this webinar. Um, and yeah, I'm very excited to break down the spiritual astrology of the signs. Um, I see there's a talk of live chat on Facebook. I'm not necessarily familiar. Uh, Fill me in as well. But other than that, um, thank you very much for joining me. If you have a notebook to take notes, that'll be very advised. But other than that, recording will be available to you. So keep that in mind. Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. That's not the Mystic Illuminations chat, though. I figured it was just like a AstroFam chat, so I wasn't sure what you meant because you did mention a Mystic Illuminations live chat, but I'm not sure if that's it. But yes, other than that, this is the Spiritual Astrology webinar, and I'm going to give you a certain awareness and a different look of the zodiac than you may have been given at first. The video quality on my end is okay, but I do see live it's a little bit whacked off, I guess. If you change the gear on your on the video, it does give the opportunity for HD, so that's probably why as well. For those of you who invite me to live chats, never really use Facebook Messenger. So if you don't see me messaging it, it's because like I rarely use the Messenger. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm ignoring y'all or anything. But regardless, welcome to the Spiritual Astrology. Just to give you a brief recap of what we're going to go through, we're going to talk about the elements first, the spiritual quality of the elements. Shout out to Mallory and those of you whose first webinar this is with us. You're in for a treat. This is going to be one of my best ones for sure. So regardless of whether you have notes or not, I came prepared. I got a Sprite and I got Dasani water. But I'm going to talk about the elements first. I'm going to talk about the states of the signs. We're basically going through the basics of astrology, but I'm going to give you that Neptunian Uranus lens. All right. We're going to go into the spiritual meaning of the planets. And then we'll also speak of the signs. This is the meat of the webinar. We're going to go into the different meanings of what makes each sign spiritual, or not necessarily spiritual, but just a different way of looking at it. So when you see a Cancer, you won't be like, oh, this person's emotional. You'll be like, oh, this is a high priest or a high priestess. This is a psychic individual. And this serves to be very empowering, if anything, because you'll have a greater understanding of what you represent and why. Then we'll go into more so the ascendant MC of what the signs kind of mean in certain places. And yeah, I will be using the Planet Watcher to show you the different signs and kind of how they blend together vaguely in a certain sense. And yeah, then we'll go into some Q&A. So if I don't get your question, I'm going to provide an email that you can send a picture of your chart and a question to. And I'll make sure that I get to that as time allows. But regardless, that being said, let's get to the spiritual nature of this astrology webinar. All right. Sorry, I've been doing readings all day, so Literally had no time to like rest in between. But it is what it is. It's all good. I'll be right back because there's a FedEx package that needs my signature. And then once I do, we'll start this webinar. Alrighty, y'all. Ooh, let me close this. So I'm going to start with the elements, and this is a very cool and important story to really help you understand more or less how these energies interact with each other. So follow along. Some of you will really identify with a lot of these because it's going to be really, potent. Maybe you have nothing but one element in your sign, and yeah. So regardless, when it comes to the elements, you have water. First of all, water, fire, air, and earth. Water, fire, air, and earth are derivatives of the spirit that exists as the spiritual realm, the ether that you can't necessarily see, hear, and feel, but just exists as it just is. It's something that reacts to your soul. The eye can't necessarily see it, the tongue can't taste it, but the soul can feel it. The soul feels spirit. And this is your moon sign, your soul. So keep that in mind. In regards to this, in order for this to manifest in ways that we can now be aware of it, it breaks down into 4 elements. And there's even more, but 4 central elements are what they come down to. Air, earth, or earth, air, water, fire, right? And this is earth correlating with the physical nature of being and experience, everything that you can actually, feel and touch. And then air is the mental realm, right? The mental realm that governs thoughts and concepts. Water has everything to do with the emotions, but more so the soul, right? And then fire is the spiritual. So you have the physical level, the mental level, the spiritual level, and the emotional level. So if you have no water in your chart, it may be difficult to get a soul level understanding of things. If you have no air in your chart, you may not really have a mental connection. Like you may have a composite chart and there's all the other elements, but there's no mental energy. So you don't communicate as powerfully as you may want to. Or if you have no earth, there may not be any physical element. You may have all these concepts and feel these certain things, but it's not really real. And it's hard to ground down physically. Or if you have no fire, there's really no spirituality. There's no passion. There's no fire. There's nothing to be excited about, which could be balanced by a surplus of water and earth. So yeah, it's not that passionate, but it's very grounding and it's very emotional. There's some depth and there's some substance here. So that being said, if you think of the tribes, or if you think of the elements as tribes, then this is one of the first facets of spiritual astrology that you want to keep in mind. When it comes to, of course, the 3 signs in one element, they're all linked. So you never want to look at Libra as independent from Aquarius, as independent from Gemini. They're evolutions of that energy. So if we were to start with fire per se, you have the triplicity of fire that goes from Aries to Leo to Sagittarius, okay? And this energy coming from Aries sparks off with the passion and fire. It evolves into Leo where it stokes its fire creatively. And if fire doesn't burn out, but it stays, the fire of Leo is like a bonfire that you put the right wood in and it stays burning forever. And then that evolves to the shine of Sagittarius. And then of course, with Earth, you have Taurus, that evolves into Virgo, and then that evolves into Capricorn. And we'll talk about how there's a difference between how you're starting off fire with Cardinal, but you end Earth with Cardinal, you know? And then with air, you have the Gemini evolution into Libra, into Aquarius, and with water, the Cancer evolution into Scorpio, into Pisces, which we'll zoom in and go more into. But once again, whenever you go through a Libra transit, you have to look at Aquarius, you have to look at Gemini, because you want to think that they're linked. So we're in Gemini season, but Libra's getting triggered and Aquarius is getting triggered. Because if you think about it, yeah, you might be aware of the thoughts and the attitude and the language. Gemini is all about language, but now this is instantly triggering Libra. Who are you saying the language to? Who are you connecting with? And then what knowledge is inspiring the language that you're even speaking? In that sense, whenever you think of the elements, you want to think of 3 different states of the same energy. This is what lends to stunning compatibility between those who keep it within their tribe. You know, a Virgo and a Capricorn are going to feel that deep, intense connection because they add up to Scorpio. And you know what I'm saying? It's going to be, once again, highly deep. Not only highly deep, but also very, you know, internal. Not also very internal, but also very, you know what I'm saying, synonymous with how both energies are the same, but they do it in different ways. So that being said, there's a bit of a story that goes around how these energies kind of became tribes, all right? And this starts very much so with the air, okay? And if you think about, if you look up in the sky, rain comes down from the sky. If you also think about the sky, before these planets got created, we just had space. We just had that void. We just had that nothingness maybe. And before that, it was probably just all light. So with that being said, air has always been about community. When you think of people getting along, when you think of there actually being like a social environment, that's what air brings. Gemini, Aquarius, Libra, they got together with Aries. When you think of the fire tribe, or rather, we could start with fire. The fire tribe and the air tribe decided to get together and become its own kingdom, ruled by Leo. All right. Libra and Aquarius saw fit for Leo to rule the kingdom because of the fire and light that's stoked from the source. The only thing is that before, fire didn't necessarily know order. They were all chaotic. And one thing that's cool about fire and air is on their own, they get along pretty well. Like the connection that air signs have is top notch. It's very connected. Like it's loyal, it's faithful, only because of the honesty. Even if they were to lie to each other, it's still very like amiable. Like no one's gonna catch grudges. We're not talking about Taurus or Cancer, you feel me? And they get along very well because air teaches that with communication, you're able to mediate and resolve conflict. That's the whole purpose of Libra. So fire gets along even more passionately, but they were never able to organize a tribe because what gets in their way is competition. And when it's straight, because fire is ultimately chaotic. So when it's good, it's even better than air. It's even better than air. And it's so passionate that that fire can create an everlasting blaze. But what's usually going to happen is Aries is going to be like, Leo, don't tell me what to do. And then Sagittarius is going to be like, Leo, you know I can do what you do better, right? And then Leo hair flips to Aries and Sagittarius. And it's like, oh no, boo-boo, like we're going to have to do this right now because fire is not air. Fire is not going to talk it out. Aries is going to be like, screw that talking stuff. We're going to show you right now that I'm better. And so they get along, but their bane is competition because, and that's what I'm trying to let you know. The essence of fire is competitive. It seeks to shine brighter than the rest and to assert itself. So thankfully, air saw this conflict, and with the influence of air, they're able to create a cohesive whole. And now this is the light side. Blah. All right. You have the air, you have the water, the light side. Blah. Okay. And within the light side, Leo would be the ruler. Libra is the advisor to the ruler. Okay. Gemini would more so be the media, per se, the messages from royalty to the people saying this is what's going on in this community. And then Sagittarius and Aries will be the war generals, right? Aries will, of course, be the general, and Sagittarius will be one of the second, you know, if not first, right-hand man of the war general, where they both have their stripes. They both are ready for war. They're waiting to beat someone's ass, like in the battlefield. And then, of course, Aquarius is the tactician that kind of lets the war know what strategies they need to win in a certain sense. And that's kind of how these energies play out on a light side sense. So Earth adopted this sense of order, or not order. Earth brought order to the community. Earth was like, oh, so this is how air does. So it wasn't just fire and air. This is just like the light side, right? But now we have earth and water. Earth was like, oh, okay. So this is what community is. And what Earth did was they applied the principles from the air tribe, and they were able to come into a tight-knit, cohesive whole. Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo, they were able to apply the principles of connectivity and now create tradition and now create order. So air and earth naturally know how to stay connected together, but it's in a different way. The air community is a lot more vibrant. The air community is a lot more live, and it's a lot more upbeat, and it's a lot more up-tempo. Whereas the earth, maybe it might not be as mental, but it lasts. And what the Earth tribe is able to do that none of the other tribes can is to keep the influence within their community, keep the money in the family through traditions, through certain things that kind of allow a greater loyalty to go through. So Earth, just like air went to fire to bring them together, Earth went to water, because there's no way water was going to organize themselves. Water is just so messy. And when we think of the politics between all of these energies, okay, air gets along. And this is indicative by any air sign getting along. If air signs hate each other, it's because they have different elements. Maybe one air sign has a moon sign, water moon sign, the other one has a fire, and that's what's clashing. But it's the air that makes them like really good. And then Earth gets along pretty well too. Very grounded, very practical. Both air and Earth are able to deal with their situations, air through conversation, Earth through some kind of grounded technique to at least remind those what's important, to keep it, you know, not out of whack. Fire goes from getting along to each other to just competitively battling against each other. That's how they are, okay? And the thing with fire is, even if they don't get along, it's fire. So like, to an hour, Aries is gonna be so mad at Leo, or Sagittarius and Aries are gonna beef, but in 30 minutes, they're playing video games, they're eating steak, they're laughing. And it's like, weren't you guys ready? Like, Aries will low-key be ready to kill Sagittarius, and then in 30 minutes, they're laughing about their day, and the beef is gone, because that's fire. It flares up, but then that fire dies out. And when it dies down, then they go back to whatever. Water, on the other hand, is a totally different story, okay? Let me tell you the truth, y'all. Water does not fuck with each other. Like, the water signs do not like each other, okay? The water signs do not like each other. So there's never really been any unity in the water, because unlike the other tribes, the water tribe and the water signs have the deepest connection. Like, the mental connection with air is unparalleled. The grounded connection that Earth has and the passion that fire has is powerful, but the water signs are truly connected. Like, they know each other so deeply, and that's really why they hate each other. Like, that's that double-edged sword. Like, you know so much, you eventually hate them. Water, my friend, water, okay? And it's like, Scorpio and Cancer, beef. Like, Cancer hates Scorpio, and then Pisces just instigates between Cancer and Scorpio. So Pisces is gonna choose whether they wanna chill with Cancer and like instigate against Scorpio, and then maybe Pisces will go to Scorpio and be like, oh, this is what Cancer's saying about you, and Pisces gets the popcorn, and it's Cancer versus Scorpio all day, okay? Scorpio is manipulating the crap out of Cancer and taking advantage of Cancer when Cancer wants to help, and then Cancer will just turn around and then just kind of like, dick out Scorpio when Scorpio needs their help. So it's really you know, Scorpio wants to be the strong one, but Cancer is the powerful one, so they butt heads over power all the time. And we're talking about very compatible signs, for real. I've lived this through experience. My younger sisters are Cancer and Scorpio too, so like, I was the Gemini with the popcorn. You see how like Pisces is like my 10th house? I was a Gemini with the popcorn, like, ooh, who's gonna win this time? So it is what it is. Compatibility wise, it works, because when you're talking about understanding, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just telling you, like, a huge thing about Cancer and Scorpio is that you're not even going to really see their beef. Like, this is emotional, so you're not going to know Cancer is fuming about Scorpio, because they're not going to tell you. You think Scorpio is going to tell you what they feel? Like, just being real. So the Earth tribe had to go to the water, and with their influence, of course, brought order to the water. Pisces is now the queen, which Scorpio is salty about, because Scorpio's like, oh no, bitch, I'm the queen. But Pisces got the title. The financial advisor is Taurus, which is also advisor for the kingdom. Capricorn is the army general for the dark side. And then, of course, Virgo is the tactician. Just like Aquarius was the strategist, Virgo is a tactician, giving the tactics for the army and also for the kingdom. And then, of course, Cancer is more so like the cleric and psychic. Cancer kind of has different hats here depending on the time of what's going on in the moment. So that being said, that's a little bit about the elements and the tribes. And every now and then the light side and the dark side dance with each other. And then there's of course a version with all of them together and all of them connected in potent ways. So when we now speak of the spirituality of the states, it's important to keep in mind that you have the mutability, you have the fixed nature, and you have the cardinal nature, okay? It's important because before we break down the signs and the planets, it's really understanding how these states work together that will key you in profoundly to how potent, if anything, you could harness so much of this energy, but mostly experience this and know when it's kind of occurring to certain beings and things. And we're going to start off, of course, with the cardinal energies. Now, when it comes to the cardinal signs, this is power. This is psychic power, all right? And you have different levels of psychic power. You have the base level, the spark and the fire, the individual power that you have on your own, where you have the power to make your own decisions, to be your own person. And I say psychic power because the cardinal energy has much to do with the projection, right? And keep this in mind because those of you with a lot of cardinal energy in your house, in your chart, this is what's going to lend for things kind of working your own way. This is why certain signs are control freaks, and if things don't go their way, they have tantrums. So it really has a lot to do with the power that they exude in any given moment, especially as far as how well they're able to open and close doors with this energy. So you have Aries, which is the fire element of this cardinality. Now we're going from the elements to the states. And if you notice, the cardinals have each of the 4 elements. So we have the tribes, right? Now we also have the states. I don't know, for those of you who've been following me since back in the day, I actually had like a short excerpt. I haven't finished the story. I'm going to come back to that. But I had like the mutable sign meeting, the cardinal sign meetings where I actually wrote stories about the characters. The cardinal signs are like the Bilderbergers of the zodiac. Like they have their secret once a year meetings because they're so busy they can only get together once to run the world and talk about stuff. So you have the power, the power heads, you know, the most powerful signs of each element representing each of their tribes. That's one of the first groups. And they get together to govern more so what's going to be done in the world because they have that power. So power comes with cardinality. If you have no cardinal energy in your chart, you don't have any power. This means you have fixed and mutable sign energy though. So what you don't have in power, you make up for in magic and love, which are all parts of the Triforce here. All right, for my Zelda fans. So power is the ability to do things off the merit of who you are. And the individual power is the first level. Individual psychic power, I have my Mars in Aries. So if I want to go to 7-Eleven and get something to eat, it's an Aries. So I'm just going to go. If I had Virgo, I'll be like, I'll plan it out. I'll be like, okay, I should probably do this. I should probably do that. But I have Aries. So I'm going to get up. I'm going to go and do it. And then maybe while I'm doing it, I'm like, ooh, I should have planned this and this better. But who cares? I got Aries. So up, done, blah. And that's what makes it impulsive. All right. And then from the Aries, we now shift into Cancer, which is actually not just emotional psychic power, but it's also ancestral psychic power. Cancer is one of the most psychic energies because, yeah, it's a lot of this ocean energy, not even emotion, ocean, a lot of this oceanic energy comes a lot more from the power of the collective energy around you. All right, this is where things get a little bit complicated because it's hard to put in words how deeply profound and potent this is, and a lot of people are not necessarily going to like harness the full power of Cancer. So this is going to come as them being moody. This is going to come as them being super emotional, because in order to, if we were to harness the true power of Aries, this is someone who can do whatever they want. Literally, like there's nothing they can't do. It's omnipotence at its finest, to where they're completely sovereign. To harness the full power of Cancer is literally being tapped in to every single person's feelings and being able to influence how they feel. That's why it's such a powerful power. Like it's psychic power. And I want it, if we were just to make one of them psychic, it really would just be Cancer. But I want you to see all the cardinal signs as psychic power, just different types of psychic power. And if you just attribute Cancer to emotions, it's a cop-out. Humanity hasn't mastered Cancer, so it's hard to really see what this looks like. But the psychic energy of Cancer is literally actually being able to influence how people feel and what they feel, and being able to move and do things from a more core position, to whereas the Aries is just going to be individual. The Cancer cares about others. They now know how others feel. They now have a psychological, emotional power over others because they can be aware and manipulate to their favor what you're going to do because they know how you feel. Whereas the person who's just so individual in the Aries power don't even care how you feel. They're just doing that. Then we shift to Libra. This is a underestimated power, but everyone wants. It's social power. This is being able to take the first two powers and apply it socially so that you're experiencing how powerful others are and how well you can balance this with your power. Social power and the power of words really amazingly allows one to get stuff done based on how well they know other people. This is why Libra loves Aquarius. The fifth house of Libra is Aqua, because Aqua knows it's not what you know, or Libra and Aqua know it's not what you know, it's who you know. So whereas Aries is individual power, and the Aries can get up and do 50 things on their own. They can make their own beats, they can make their own lyrics, they can edit their own video. And now that's powerful because they don't have to split attention elsewhere. They can keep and produce all that they do, right? Like Taurus does as well. Libra is quite opposite. Libra is the power of others, social power, to where, yeah, I might not be able to do as much as Aries can, but I can make one phone call and it's done for me. This is the heightened power of Libra because it really keys in the charm of being able to utilize other people. This is why politicians is Libra. Politics is a Libra energy. Politicians are very Libra-like because they know how to answer diplomatically, to whereas an Aries can be selfish and say certain things that, and this is the power of having that individual power. You don't have to censor yourself. Libra is going to have to censor itself because it cannot necessarily offend certain other people, and as well as burn the bridges of the connections that it makes, because Libra is the power of connections that now take it more from just being you, but extend you to a community of people. It's really potent power. And then, of course, you have Capricorn. Because to borrow off of Libra, Libra is going to have the power of the people. That's why the seventh house is a president house, right? you connect, you extend that caring of Cancer and connect with other people, and you care so much that you're able to, you know, connect everyone together. Capricorn is now at the top. How am I going to control all of this, right? Capricorn is now in the final power, and it's where all these concepts are made physical, to where you're calling the shots and controlling things as a figurehead at the top of the mountain. But this is a little bit different, because what does Capricorn sextile Scorpio? And there are very occult implications to the power that Capricorn is able to ascend to where what makes Capricorn powerful isn't necessarily even the power that it's able to gain because of the need to organize, structure, and control things, but it's the system set in place that incorporates symbolic themes. What's next to Capricorn and before them? Sagittarius and Scorpio. The symbolic occultic themes that lend more to people being influenced, and also lend more to people being in a position to follow authority. So whereas Libra is social power, Capricorn is the power of authority, and the power of having a title that, what is Capricorn next to? Aquarius. The people decide and choose. So this is what makes this such a chosen energy. But the reason why it's very powerful is because you're now having power of resources, people, and how other people feel over the world. So this is where there has to be integrity. In order to master Aryan power, you have to have originality. You can't be fake, right? So you have to, Libra has to pass that test of making sure they don't give so much of themselves out to people they're not themselves. To pass Cancer, you need to be sincere. You have to be honest about how you feel. To pass Libra, you have to literally compromise and balance, which is the test of Aries, to where you can't be too original that you don't really care, right? And you're able to actually balance things out to create a greater whole. And then the power and test of Capricorn is integrity, to where you have all this authority, but you still walk rightly with it and you don't take advantage of, which is not being, that test is being failed by governments and by people in positions of authority. Because even if they're not Capricorn or Libra, they're still running Capricorn and Libra energy-esque things, to where people aren't compromising, people don't have integrity. So you have corruption in police forces, in government, okay? So that being said, we've now gone over the first facet of power. And how are you guys enjoying this webinar so far? Next time, I'm going to make a PowerPoint slide just so we can follow along. But yeah, I hope I'm able to express this well so far. And we're only barely getting started, because we're still doing the cardinality and whatnot. But yeah, when we get to the cardinal versus the fixed versus the mutable, we're talking about power versus love versus magic. This is one of the most important themes ever. And if you were to walk away from this with this, it's going to be that much great. So first of all, we went through the elements, and that was the first part. The information of the elements that I wanted to give you was to let you know the nature and the essence of them. This next part is the states. So cardinal, I just showed you the four elements, the spiritual, the emotional, the mental, and the physical of these four energies, okay? Spiritual, so, okay, yeah. So other than that, and please, for those of you who have questions, hold your questions until the end, because that might be a bit confusing. When I bring up the Q&A, then you can say your questions for sure. But for now, just save them. All right. Other than that, when we speak of the power and the love and the magic, these are all influences that definitely allow you to incorporate 3 different states of mind, which we'll get to. And this is important because regardless of if you have any planets of that in your chart or not, it's really more so at a great level, you being aware of how you are able to gain so much from this stuff. And when we talk about gain, we're going to get to the fixed signs. So keep this in mind, because power is what you exert to move forward. The fixed energy, love, is the currency of which you receive. When you take an action at Aries, it goes into Taurus. So you've produced it. When I take the action to weld a magic stick, then it's now been created. And that magic stick has value. That's the fixed sign axis, all right? And this is what makes fixed signs the opposite of cardinal. Cardinal goes out and gets it. Fixed signs receive it. So you'll find that cardinal signs and fixed signs are very much so twin flames, all right? You'll notice this from Aries, Leo, Capricorn, Taurus, and Cancer, Scorpio. And then, of course, what am I missing? Libra, Aquarius. These connections are very much so twin-like connections in unorthodox ways, whereas the mutable signs will be twins of each other. We'll get into that, but can also be twins of everyone else, really. So with that being said, when we talk about the fixed signs, we're talking about the currencies that you have. So people who have a lot of Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, they don't have to do anything. Things come to them. This is where the cardinal signs are going. When the cardinal signs travel, they go to the fixed. And I call this love, because love is what you have. Cardinal power is what you do. Power is what you exert. Fixed signs is the love that you have. This is the currency of the zodiac, all right? Currency here. The currency of the zodiac is the value that you gain in 4 octaves and different elements, so that you're in a position now to receive, all right? So if you think of the 2nd house, which is manifestation house, the 11th house, the house of gains that you receive, the 8th house, intimacy, and the 5th house, love, creativity, speculative entertainment, these are all currencies, all right? These are all energies that you give, but more so you receive, really. You have those, and then you give out with the cardinal, the power of what you do with what you receive. So we start off with Taurus, which is the first thing that's important to keep in mind, because when it comes to the cardinal, the base was fire and the peak was earth. With fixed, you're going to find out that the lowest octave is earth and the highest octave is air. So keep that in mind, and you want to key into the levels of the octaves. So if you have that in your notes, that'll definitely be important. All right. So other than that, we start off with Taurus, which is the first octave of love, because outside, even though it's like money, the first currency, the love of money, but money, it's a value, and Taurus is more than just money, but it's the appreciating sense that binds things and keeps them together. Taurus is the loyalty and faithfulness, for you to know that the love that is shared is something appreciated. When we talk about bartering, the best way to show that you love something is to buy it. This is how right now we know which companies are the most loved, which one has the greatest gross income. Because if you're going to give your money to something, yeah, you may not love it, but it's a low octave. This isn't Leo love, where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to sing to you. But it's, hey, I'm going to choose your brand over the other brand because I value your brand. That's Taurus. And Taurus is all about value and appreciation, which is what lends to love, which is what lends to physical things being made. This is very important, because all the octaves of love are going to come back down to this. That's the foundation. And if you don't have values, it doesn't matter how deep your love is in Scorpio. It doesn't matter how vibrant your love is in Leo. It's going to fall apart because there's no values to make it last. So that's the earth dimension of love. Then we ascend to Leo. This is the love we all know. This is the love we all want. We all want, well, won't say we all want, but this is the love that really extends forth in the vibrant nature of being able to express your power creatively and express yourself in ways that allow you to kind of come greater. The reason why Capricorn is the highest octave of power is because this is where rules are set and a system is created that everyone has to adhere to. This is why, you know what I'm saying, it squares Aries. It's Capricorn and Libra that have to put Aries in check. In case I want to be a serial killing dictator that doesn't care about others, then I have to make sure, if I'm breaking the rules of the system that adhere for everyone, and I'm talking ideally now, in an ideal world, then the system that Capricorn places is going to make sure that we're all able to coexist. And then, of course, that is what's going to lend to Taurus, the fifth house of that, with currency. Because you do got to pay up, whether through taxes or whether through what is produced from these systems. And then the fifth house of Leo, Aries is Leo, to where that individual power is expressed creatively, to where, yeah, I'm the peace dealer, but I'm going to express who I am through creative videos that bring out my personality. And that's why people sing, because this is what opens your heart. And this is the heart-centered of portion of love. The reason why this is a currency is simple. If I'm depressed, and then someone comes in all vibrant and they smile, that smile is going to be contagious. And that's an energetic currency. Aquarius gets this, okay? That's an energetic currency. That's why Leos and Scorpios get drained a lot. Scorpio can also be a vampire, so it's a little bit different. But Leos can get drained a lot of their vitality because their energy is currency and it opens their heart, all right? You can stoke this up. If you have fixed signs, you can stoke this energy to create more of it and to focus it so that you know that this is what people are coming. And one thing to keep in mind, cardinal signs are go-getters. The reason why fixed signs are fixed is they don't go anywhere. People come to them. So here's a spiritual implementation. If you have, and we're going to get to the planets, if you have Venus in a cardinal sign, if you have Venus in Aries or Venus in Capricorn, then forget gender roles. You might be a woman with Venus and Mars in Aries or Venus and Mars in Capricorn. If you're waiting for that man to come to you, they're not, because you're the go-getter. You're supposed to go out and get what you want. And you will be in situations where you listen to gender roles and you're like, well, I'm going to wait for this person to come to me. And it's just like bozo after bozo, maybe. Unless you go out, get what you want, and you get it, because that's the go-getter. If you're a man with a Venus and Mars in a fixed sign, you know, some of you have it in both. Some of you, like I have my Venus in a fixed and my Mars in a cardinal. So I have to learn how to like go, but then wait at the same time. So if you have your Venus in a fixed sign, if you have your Mars in a fixed sign, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. You have to wait till it comes to you, because you have magnetic Taurus, Scorpio. These are magnetic qualities. And this is what's even more tripped out. Even Leo and Aquarius, which are masculine in nature, Leo can still just stand there because people are going to come to its light for the warmth and the radiance. That's the currency of Leo, the warmth of love that inspires, all right? It's a currency. That's why fixed signs have to know their value. And that's why fixed signs get stolen from the most out of all the signs. And Leo is the love, the vibrancy of love that makes life exciting. So this is where we get to Scorpio. Scorpio is the next evolution of love, hinted with sex, all right? So Leo is the initial, both Leo and Scorpio, ironically, are innocent. You would think Leo is more like erotic, because Leo does have that side, obviously, to where it can corrupt Gemini, right? Or make Gemini more sexual. But Scorpio is the evolution of the courage of love and its purity. all right, ideally. But even in the dark side, it's still love to where it's no longer vibrant, but it's so deeply intense, you are willing to die for that person. Okay, you are willing to literally die for that person because you love them so much, or you'll betray them. This is true love, or if you'll kill them if they betrayed you. This is how you know it's true love. Like, this is how you know you really love someone. If someone that you love cheated on you and you wouldn't kill them and the person who cheated, you don't truly love them. If you don't have a thought cross your mind and you're not like insecure, or you're not a bit, we're not saying that you're supposed to be insecure, but if you don't feel a little bit insecure or worried that they may cheat on you, or someone else may be taken away from you, it's not real love. It's not true love. And now I'm not saying that if you're not insecure over your partner, you don't love them, because that's unhealthy. But if not even once, unless you're like super enlightened and you've transcended this, like, because you have mad 12th house or Pisces energy, and then you know life is about sacrifice. But if you, because listen here, Taurus and Scorpio are possessive. This is where I love you, so I'm not going to let you go. Seriously. And people with Taurus and Scorpio, they'll listen to people say, well, let them go, let them go. And we'll just be like, ha, 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 fools, you don't get it. Because like, if you really love someone, you won't let them go. Unless you get to the highest octave, Aquarius, where you detach. This is different. But that Scorpionic, that Taurus love is possessive. Taurus is possessive. Scorpio is like completely like dominating, like your soul is mine, right? So keep this in mind. Like, if you don't, if the thought of killing that person doesn't come into your mind, if they betray you, you don't really love them. You don't really love them. Just gonna hold to that. And that's unhealthy. That's unhealthy, right? To think, but I'm just talking about the thought. All right. So later, if you're healthy, you're gonna be like, no, I can't be this insecure, right? But that's just the indicator, because that's letting you know so deeply, that's how deep it goes. And when it relays, you know what I'm saying? That's what's gonna lend to it. Okay. So regardless, Scorpio is now when you enter the tantric levels of love, to where you're not only so deeply in love, but love becomes pure. Love becomes a merging between you and another apparatus, as to where when it's in Leo, you're so vibrant, you're enjoying the presence with someone, and you're both sharing your light and fire. With Leo, it's like we must merge, and Scorpio, we must merge and become one, and it takes it deep. And then the final octave of love is friendship. And a lot of people haven't gotten here yet, because it incorporates the first three, to where you're not only so deeply in love with this person, they're now your friend because you know everything about them. That's a real friend, okay? A lot of people think they have friends because they talk maybe every day or every other day, and they go places together. But I'm sorry, my friend, that's not a friend. That's a third house acquaintance. A lot of y'all have third house acquaintances, and you form relationships with them and wonder why they don't go anywhere. Because true friendship requires a deep soul merging. True friendship is deeper than the surface. True friendship is deeper than just finding certain things that you both get along with. That's all basics, all right? Someone is not your true friend if you haven't even had sex with them in some sense, even if it wasn't physical sexual intercourse. If you haven't passed that Scorpio where you've both kind of fused and merged and you shared something so deep, they're not truly your friend. You don't really know them. And that's the Aquarius axis. That's the spiritual connection, because what's it next to? Pisces. So a lot of people think they are with their best friends or with their friends, but that's why that friend will talk crap behind them, behind their back. All right. So true friendship accepts the duality of hate/love for each other. And this is where the detached nature comes from, to where, yeah, you love someone so deeply at Scorpio, but then once it evolves at Aquarius, you can feel that depth and still detach from the expectation of where you want to manipulate that connection to. All right, I'm talking to you, Scorpio, when I say manipulation. So that being said, that detachment is very important. And this is what makes this the highest octave of love. At the lowest octave of love, this comes in possessions, where at the darkest side, someone can feel they can buy someone with money. All right. But ultimately, money is just paper. You know what I'm saying? Even possessions. When you go to Leo, there's that vibrance. Yeah, I might not have money, but I feel happy. A lot of people would rather be poor and feel happy than have all the money in the world and not necessarily like feel that love. So that's what makes that a higher octave than Taurus. And then Scorpio is the love everyone craves and desires, because it's the sign of desire. And this is where I say, some people say that love and lust are different, but love is lust. Love is just like the light side of lust, which is the dark side of love. Like you have the light side of love and the dark side of love. You have passion, which is the light side. You have lust, which is the dark side. But they're both intertwined. It's just how you use the two. All right. And especially when we talk about this darker, you see, the dark side of lust is that, but the light side of that is the purity, where it's no longer lustful, and it's just such a deep love that it doesn't matter what their flaws are. That's Scorpio. That's the type of love you look for, but you'll never find, because it's so deep. You can't manufacture that. That's what makes it opposite Taurus. And then friendship is the highest octave of love, because your currency, so the currency for Taurus is possessions. The currency for Leo is energy. The currency for Scorpio is also energy, but more so sex. All right. This is why prostitution is the oldest profession in the world, because what's opposite sex? Taurus. And a lot of people don't know this as well. Like, if you're having sex, especially with a woman, you have to pay that woman. Seriously, if you were to tell this to people, some people wouldn't get it. Some women would feel like, oh, their body is being bought. But no, this is fundamentals. Like, if you have a womb, you have to give an offering. You don't have to pay them money. You have to give them something, though. I like to give food because it is what it is. But you cannot, before you have sex with someone, you have to honor the Taurus, Scorpio, and now you have to offer something to that Scorpio, Taurus, something physical, whether it's like, and every time you have sex too, whether it's like food, whether it's like a ring, whether, and I don't mean a wedding ring, or whether it's like something symbolic, like something has to be offered in order to unlock the tantric level of sex. Most important thing, something always has to be offered. So this kind of also comes into the whole gender role thing of why some women want to be not even compensated. Shout out to the real world. You know, some women, they don't even care. Just like, this is exactly how, you know what I'm saying? James, that's not true. That's not true. You don't devalue your thing when you pay. You're not paying for a pussy, as you say. That's not what's happening. You're exchanging energy, because especially the yoni, it's so, some people say you're not supposed to put it on a pedestal, but that's where it comes to love. Like, you have to honor the, and this is just in general, like, you have to honor like the spiritual qualities of this goddess energy. When you pray to a goddess, when you pray to any higher beings, they demand offerings. Seriously, this is where the religion comes in. So you can't just interact with that energy without offering something. Learn that. Like, if I was to have a girlfriend or a wife, and Sag Warrior, it really is both ways. So just like you offer that, they're also going to offer something to you, but they're already offering that. It's that yoni. That's the power. That comes after you offer, and then the exchange, it comes, you know what I'm saying? And also, see, the reason why it's kind of hard for some people to accept is because of the culture of how we've done this, like giving this to get that. You're not necessarily giving it to get it. You're giving it, and this is why I have to do this spiritual astrology, because it's really hard for people to grasp the sacredness of stuff, okay? And You know, if I was to offer up, let's say I had a wife, and if I was to offer her up something, it's not prostitution, it's worship. And people feel like worship devalues one, and it makes one go down when it's an act of devotion. People aren't humble anymore. People don't know sacredness or humility. So the whole notion of sacred offerings is now seen as, oh, you're putting this person on a pedestal. And it's like, no, this is just fundamentals and basics. This is why there's huge divorce rates in marriages, because there's no spirituality in partnerships, because people don't really know each other. All right. So that's a little secret to put y'all on. It's an energy exchange. You're not necessarily paying for something. You're exchanging energy before you involve yourself in a sacred act. Most important thing to keep in mind, because if you skip steps like this, that's what's kind of going to, you know what I'm saying? But I know I made it look like you have to pay up to the woman, but it's an exchange. Like you're not really paying her. Like you're it's both equal. It's both equal. That's the most important thing. That's what the Libra's for. One person is not lower because of someone getting on their knees and worshiping. You don't have to get on your knees, but if you were to get on your knees and worship, that doesn't make you lower. That's an act of devotion. That's equaling the playing field. But people have pride, people have ego, and it screws everything up when it's not exercised in the right way. So this is where friendship, the currency of Aquarius, is other people. And that's the difference between those octaves, to where you can have all the money in the world, but if you have mastered the highest octave of love, friendship, actually being a friend to someone, actually being there and knowing who that person is, then you can have $0 in the bank, but your currency is other people. That's what makes Capricorn so powerful. What's their second house? Aquarius. They don't have to have money because they know the right people. So the stuff that you are going to pay, it just completely takes money out as the middleman. I don't have to pay to go into the club. I know the club owner. I don't have to pay for that meal. My best friend owns this restaurant. I don't have to pay for this car. My friend owns the car dealership. I don't have to pay for this ticket. My friend owns the airline. That's why celebrities, that's why 11th house Aquarius is the star. They can walk around and do whatever, because people are like, I know you, bro. Here, you can come in. Don't worry about it. I got you. That's power. That's potency. And every Aquarius naturally has access to that, because this is their age as well. All right, so keep that in mind, okay? And finally, we've talked about power. We've talked about love. Now we're going to talk about magic, okay? And the magic that is available to all are the mutable signs. So you do power. Shout out to those of you enjoying this so far. I'm very honored to deliver this message. Please give me some healing. I left Trump Towers and I hit my head against the door, and ever since 2 days ago, my neck has been hurting. It's kind of healed over time, but it's still hurting. So I might have to get a massage or something like that. But let me know if I need to take any pain pills or anything. I have not really healed myself with Reiki, so I'm gonna practice what I preach. But yes, now this is what makes the mutable mutable signs the most important, because, well, not the most important, but this is the third triplicity, okay? Mutable signs are magic, because if power is what you do, and then love is what you have, the currency, then magic is what you experience. And the mutable signs are the seers of the zodiac, okay? Specifically Sagittarius. The mutable signs are what helps you see. So when you need perspective, you go to mutable. And magic is something you see and experience. So if you don't have any fixed sign energy in your chart, you don't really have love. This doesn't mean you can't experience love, because you can definitely find a fixed sign and be in love with them, but you don't have that energy. Like, I don't have Leo, I don't have Scorpio, I don't have Aquarius. So I always like to tell people, oh, I'm heartless. Like, I really don't love. Like I have Taurus, so I value, but I really don't love. And people think I'm joking when I say that. And that's, you know, I can be very compassionate, I can be very caring, but I don't have love. Now, what I'll talk about later, near the end, please remind me if I forget, are progressions. This is where you can start to make up. This is where, because of progressions, you eventually will make up for what you don't lack. I'm a progressed Cancer right now. So I'm magic working on emotional power. And when I'm older and I become a progressed Leo, now I'm going to start to have love. Now I'm actually going to develop real love. All right. The reason why I do have love, though, is because I have Taurus. But if you don't have fixed signs, you don't have love. You don't have cardinal signs, you don't have power. You may progress into it, though, inevitably, and you'll develop it. But if you don't have mutable signs, as I say, 5 different things. If you don't have mutable signs in your chart, you don't have magic, or you don't experience magic. So that means a Pisces or a Gemini can say some stuff, and you'll be like, oh, you guys are conspiracy theorists. You guys know what you're talking about, because you don't see the magic. And it'll be right in front of you. This is what frustrates Pisces so much, because they see it, but they don't know how to tell other people who don't see it. Unless they're with another mutable sign and they're with a Sagittarius, it's like, oh my God, I thought I was the only one who saw this. Okay, so that's where this comes in through. If you have a Pisces moon or a Pisces rising, this is going to help tap you into this as well. All right, more so moon and sun though. So these mutable sign energies are the magic of life, the experience. And this is why magic is so important. All right, magic has everything to do with how you perceive your situations, because how you perceive your experience is going to let you know how well you can use your power, is going to let you know how well you can keep with what you have. Because yeah, you can be the most powerful person ever. You can be the most powerful Aries. You could be the richest Taurus. You can have all the friends in the world. But if you don't know how to experience what you have, if you can't even see the true value of what you have, you won't even know what you can do. Yeah, you can do whatever you want, but if you can't see what you're doing, then you're doing it, but you have no perspective. And that's why if you have mutable signs, people have to come to you, or you can go to them, so that you can give them this magic. Or you can experience. You're not really giving or taking. You give with cardinal, you take with fixed, right? You receive, but you experience with mutable. All right, and there's low tier magic and there's high tier magic, and I really do mean magic. This is being able, what's the one thing of mutable? Change. So this is being able to change experience in the moment. This is why mutable signs are chill. Okay, Pisces can be on the couch for 12 hours because mutable signs understand one fundamental reality about life. You only need one moment to change everything. So whereas an Aries is going to make sure, or a Libra, they're going to make sure at every moment they're on point. They're going to make sure their image is on tact, because what they do defines their character. Mutable energy could be wishy-washy. They could be one way this way, they could be one way that way, because we're in tune with the only thing constant in life, change. And so we're one with everything that's being. And this is important because we don't really have identities. This is why Pisces and Gemini could seem like a liar. Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces. This is why as mutable signs, we're fluctuating with what is in the current moment. Geminis will reflect the times. So Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, Libra, these are characters. They actually have identities. If you have these energies in your chart, you're actually going to know who you are. You're going to define yourself. If you have mutable energies, you're not going to know who you are, because you're literally everything at once. That's the trick there. You're literally everything at once. So people are going to try and pin you down to be someone, and you're not supposed to. You're actually not supposed to. You're a shapeshifter. But they don't want to acknowledge your power, mutables. They don't want to acknowledge the mutables because we change everything. We take stuff that are fixed and we change it. So they put us in cages. And they use us when they feel like we're completely like useful to them. That's why Gemini has that limiter on the consciousness. We can't go over 20%. That's why they make Pisces life a living hell. That's why they don't want Sagittarius to really say more than they know. And Virgo is just in the cut like, well, I can only do so much or they'll get at me. Okay. So that being said, The low tier magic is Gemini and Virgo. This is the truth, and these are facts. And the cool thing about low tier magic is, yeah, it's not extra. Like with high tier magic, with Sag and Pisces, there's a minimum. Like if you were gonna manifest with high tier magic, and if I want to manifest something grand, like a grand vision, then I'm gonna go to Sagittarius. I mean, Sagittarius, I want this in my life. If I was to manifest, like say, $500,000, we're gonna go to Sagittarius, Pisces, okay? But if I wanted to manifest like $300, $20,000, Sagittarius is gonna be like, nah, fam, I have a minimum $500,000 thing. Like if you're not going big, then go home, okay? You can go to Gemini for that. $20,000, go to Virgo for that. That's small money. That's small money. All right, for real. So that's the good thing about low tier magic. That's why I chose to be a Gemini, because low tier magic is low risk, low income, very quick. And I'm just using income as an example. The magic is where you take the power and the fixed and you change the situation to have it, right? So that's what's cool about Gemini. We can't do the greater stuff. Like if someone was to come to me, like they want 500, I'll be like, hey, sorry, bro, low tier. Like the advantage of low tier is that you do it and it happens quick, but it's low. And that's cool because it can generate very quickly. So those of you who have low and high tier magic, like the Sages with the Gem moons or opposite, or Virgos with Pisces, y'all literally have everything at your disposal. It's the most amazing stuff. And that's why it's cool to have all the, like natures. You want fixed, cardinal, and also, you know what I'm saying, mutable. All right. And because of that mutable energy, you're not really in a position to have to be something, because you are going to be what the moment requires. In an instant, you'll transform, change, and there you go. All right. So Virgo is the facts, where Gemini can write something down and say something as we're that portal, and we're going to create something, or not necessarily create, but change what is occurring to align to the truth based on the truth that's spoken. That's why it squares Virgo, because if the truth being spoken that's going to change reality is not part of the rules or in facts, this can bend reality in ways that are not really efficient. So Virgo's going to squash that and be like, sorry, not factually true. And then this is where we clash. But Virgo is in the middle of the high and low tier. But Virgo is low tier because it makes more real certain facets. So yeah, you might not be able to manifest the grand visions of Pisces, but you can rest assured that what you manifest will be realistic and will actually happen. So that's why low tier magic is more popular than high tier magic, because not everyone, you have to be special to learn how to really harness high tier magic. And it's really just Sagittarius and Pisces that can do so. But low tier magic is really good for money. If you want money, go to Virgo. If you want attitude and to see things good, go to Gemini. All right. And that's very important. So low tier magic is going to have a lot to do with organizing the way you adjust your attitude, because attitude is key. So Gemini is going to really help you say the right words so that and think in the right way so that you can attract the right situations. And then also so that it's next to Taurus, so you can manifest like this. So if you have Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, you're pretty dope. As opposed to having Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, now you're working with the social power of people. You have that deep occult energy, and you can manifest a grand vision that incorporates a lot of people. The thing with high tier magic is that it doesn't even have to take a lot of time, okay? And with Sagittarius is the high tier magic that you can do instantly. That's why Sagittarius is a huge deal. Sagittarius is like being able to get that grand vision and have it quick, right? But that comes with a certain power that is rare. It's not a lot of, even some Sagittariuses. If you're a Sagittarius sun, maybe moon, then you're like exclusive to this, all right? So that's why it's like not necessarily like the easiest to harness. And then Pisces is on a whole nother level. So high tier magic is existence and reality bending. This is like being able to make the impossible possible. So when you see these magic tricks, when you see this like, oh, how did they do that? That's Sagittarius and that's Pisces. That's especially Pisces. And the trick with Pisces here is, what is Pisces opposite? Virgo. Virgo is going to be slow, but it's going to last. Gemini is low tier because it's fast, but like maybe in 2 days, it's gone. Like when I manifest money really quick, within 2 days, I either spent it already or it's gone, because that's my oath. And I'm not allowed to keep it because I used magic to manifest it. So I have to, you know what I'm saying? Moon signs definitely too. Sun signs, rising. So whereas Virgo, it's going to take some time because it's going to manifest, but you're going to be able to keep it for a while. Pisces is now incorporating things that don't even make sense. And the reason why it's hard for people to harness the Piscean level of magic is because they try and put it in a box when they're already doing it. With Virgo, it follows rules. You have to do A, B, C to incorporate a system they make. Games incorporate Gemini and Virgo. When you make a game, you can harness some magic, right? Whereas with Pisces, you just have to have a vision. Imagine it and then make it real. So Pisces follows no rules. It's the highest tier magic. Sag, just like Jiwan said, Sag and Pisces, they don't need magic spells. Gemini is going to use a spell, right? Spelling, because we're going to make it real and then like say something. But Sagittarius, Pisces, this is higher level magic, okay? This is higher level magic in the sense to where you can make the impossible impossible. You can make your dreams come true. You can have a vision and you can start to have other people see this in the right way. So outside of the magic, you have the attitude in Gemini, the real lifestyle in Virgo. That's how Virgo works its magic. It incorporates it in the lifestyle to make it more real. Sagittarius is the power of the magic of beliefs, to where if everyone was to believe the sky was green, it would literally turn green because the collective consciousness is utilizing the belief. That's why Sag is so high tier, where they could just believe in something so fervently that it will now be true because they believe it that much. And then Pisces takes it to another level, incorporating elements of existence and the universe to cosmically co-create certain things. And I can't even put it into words because it's magic. You know what I'm saying? Like super high tier. So that concludes the states. We talked about the elements. We talked about the states. We spent a lot of time, and this is kind of crazy. We've been here for an hour, and we haven't even really started the webinar yet. So keep that in mind. Like we have yet to really go into the meat and bones. So, oh my God. I see why some of y'all were hating on Dasani. I need to get some smart water. But anyway, that being said, the next place we're going to get into before we break down the signs is the planets. And the energy of the planets is very, 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 very important, because I want you to kind of see this in a different way. You're going to kind of see it in the same way, but this is just a different way to really like add a spiritual element to what you're being seen. So we're going to start, of course, with the sun and the moon. And join me, of course, on Planet Watcher. I like to call the Peace Mobile. Oops. No, cameraman, go away. So that we can highlight some of the planets. So first I'm going to talk about the moon. The moon is your soul and your vessel. And the relationship of the sun and the moon is one's spirit and one's vessel. This is what allows me to classify energies. And we're going to do a classification before we get into the signs, all right? So there's 12 types of every sign because they're broken by the moon signs. And the quality of your spirit is going to have a lot to do with the quality of your soul. So when it comes to the type of Gemini I am, I'm the greatest Gemini because my moon is in Capricorn. And the classification is going to have a lot to do with where your sun is. The greatest is going to have a lot to do with the adjective is going to have to do with the moon. and the classification is the sun. So I'm the greatest magi. If I had a sun in Leo and a moon in Capricorn, I would be the greatest sorcerer. Right now we have this energy, so the vibration of the day is divine truth. All right, Prince, Kanye, Kendrick Lamar, they're divine magi's that incorporate the elements of the divine. I'm going to get into this classification as I break down the signs. We're going to talk about how, in a quick classification, if your moon is in Aries, you're raw. If your moon is in Taurus, you're natural. If your moon is in Gemini, you're enlightened. If your moon is in Cancer, you're holy. If your moon is in Leo, you're awesome. You're also lovely. If your moon is in Virgo, you're perfect, flawless. If your moon is in Libra, you're classic, but you're also altruistic. If your moon is in Scorpio, you're pure. If your moon is in Sagittarius, you're amazing. If your moon is in Capricorn, you're the greatest. If your moon is in Aquarius, you're advanced, you're cosmic. And if your moon is in Pisces, you're divine. Remember this, the moon is your soul, and it's the container and vessel you have. So when you have the moon on other planets, all these planets, your soul is now the actual planet. So let's say you had moon Neptune, then your soul is Neptune. That's why Absol is a Pisces. He's a rapper who has his moon on Neptune in Capricorn, and he calls himself Absol, the abstract asshole. And this has a lot to do with him having the soul of Neptune, whereas I have my soul on Saturn. So who I am at the core is your soul. Really keep this in mind. Who you are at the core is your soul. And don't worry, I'm going to repeat the classifications once I go through the signs again. And also, not only the classifications for moon, I'm also going to add it with the sun, so that after that, you're going to see what kind of classification you are per sun and moon, okay? So regardless, your soul is who you are at the core, and your spirit is your awareness. So your moon is going to help you know the quality of the awareness that you're going to have. So let's go back to the chart. If you're like a Gemini with a Pisces moon, this is being aware of the truth in a divine way. So you first start with sun and moon, and then if you have like the rising, this is going to let you know, like I'm aware of the truth as a Gemini, but the way I'm aware of the truth is in a great way with integrity, so that the things that I say are grounded, and I do so naturally because of Taurus in my rising. Okay, most important thing to keep in mind. What I'm going to do right now is write down these classifications by sun, moon, and rising, and I'm going to show you this as well so that you're able to see this, okay? But other than that, when we get to the sun, that's not only your awareness, but it's also going to have much to do with how well you're able to not just be aware of these, but it's the power. So your moon is a vessel, and wherever your moon is, it's the vessel of what you hold. If you're a vessel of Saturn, Saturn will give your soul its powers, but you use it indirectly. As opposed to if you have the power of Mercury or the power of Saturn, you directly control this because it's giving you its power. Me, I have my moon in Saturn, so Saturn's going to possess my moon. Your moon is the portal for possession. Wherever your moon is where you get possessed. This is why Capricorn women possess me on a daily. And I'm not strong enough as a Gemini to do anything about it, so I can just bitch and moan. But maybe if I was like an Aquarius, I can just detach and let them know what's good. But, you know, right now, everyone's soul is getting possessed by Neptune collectively, okay? Whereas we have the power of communication and words to voice out what it is we're aware of at great length. You probably might see me writing this down too, so follow along with me. I'm going to really key this in greater as we move along, just so I want to give you a visual that you can keep with you, all right? But Outside of that, the rising sign is going to speak on very greatly the adverb. So I want you to think of the sun as the noun, the moon as the adjective, and the rising sign as the adverb. Okay, most important facet to keep in mind here. Oh my gosh, space way too much. Okay, great. So for Aries, let me see if y'all see this. All right, great, you do. For Aries, and we're gonna get into this with the classification. Aries is the warrior, okay? So the moon makes them original, and then the rising authentically or originally. This can be interchanged. This could be raw, and this could be authentically or originally. Taurus is going to be the shaman or the connoisseur. And their moon is going to be naturally. Whereas, of course, the rising is going to be naturally. Sorry, naturally, but the moon is going to be natural. Okay. Gemini is going to be the mage, or magi, the magician. Just like Mercury, its ruler, is the magi and the tarot. There's something that said, there's a meme that says Scorpio is a magician. Scorpio is not a magician at all. A magi is way too low a level for Scorpio. They can do magic, but that's low level for them. The moon is going to be enlightened, because Gemini is the sign of enlightenment. All the air and fire, but it sparks off with the you know, even Aries is enlightenment too, but that's going to come as an extension of their thoughts. Gemini. And the rising, of course, is going to be truthfully. So let's say you have a sun in Aries, a moon in Taurus, and a rising in Gemini. That means you're a natural warrior, and you're a natural warrior truthfully, in truthful ways. Or you could be a natural or original magician authentically. Cancer, high priest or high priest. If you're a man, you're a high priest. If you're a woman, you're a high priestess. Holy, and of course with the rising, this is going to be sincerely. So I hope y'all are seeing this so far. Is it a little bit too low? I want to see if I can zoom in. All right, well, just follow along with me. I'll make sure I say it. But I want to make sure it's not too necessarily low so that you can't see it. Leo is going to be the sorcerer. And awesome. Righteously. Virgo is going to be angel. Perfect. Flawlessly. Not gonna lie, Libra is one of those that I still have problems getting the exact one. So I'm definitely open to suggestions. Archangel for sure. But code words for this, if you don't want to believe in angels, just say Virgo is a scientist. And then Libra is the artist of the zodiac. Okay. Classic. Altruistically. Or fairly. demigod, demon goddess. The men are demon gods, the women are demon goddesses. Purely. 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 Sag is the wild card. Amazing with the moon. And of course, amazingly. And then Capricorn, we have goddess, devils, great, totally, or greatly, or cosmically. So let's try that. Powerfully. For the risings. Aquarius, we're going to have cosmic god slash alien extraterrestrial. Advanced, and the rising is cosmically. And then of course Pisces, genie, mother goddess, divine, divinely. All right, y'all. So I got a little bit sidetracked because I was supposed to talk about the planets before that, but I just wanted to make sure you get like a good, and I'm going to bring this up again. I want to make sure you get a good like understanding of how the classification works and how it gets spiritual in a sense. Venus, so if this is your spirit and this is your soul, Venus is your beauty. Venus is going to have a lot to do with the beauty you express. And now this is important now for any of these planets, if it's in a fixed, a cardinal, or a mutable, as there's magic love, if it's immutable, as there could be magic minds, you can have a magic soul, magic work ethic, and this is how you want to, or sex magic, if Mars is immutable. If Mars or Venus is in a cardinal, then it's a powerful sex or powerful love. And then if it's just like in the fixed, then there's really no name for it. It's not like, you know, love sex or love, right? But so the what you've learned about them, you want to apply to the meanings of the planets, okay? Venus is going to have a lot to do with the beauty. Love is actually more the sun. But Venus is going to be more the politics of the beauty and how you give and receive, how you relate with others. And Neptune and Uranus are now the break you out the matrix planets, where Neptune is your imagination and your intuition. The moon, this is like the oversoul of your intuition. The moon is like the satellite that is more local and personal to you. So this is what makes today a super intuitive day. But also the moon is your like almost Christ consciousness, and like I like to say in some circles, but so is Uranus too. And one important thing about Neptune in the chart is this is what's going to key you in to how we're all blended. And this is why you can feel others across distance, because Neptune will kind of blend this. Whereas Uranus is an evolver. Uranus is, wherever Uranus is around, it's going to quantum shift. And it's not just evolution, but it's also going to advance wherever it's at. So I have this in my 11th house right now. And right now it's on my 12th house cusp using the equal signs. And what's evolving is my spirituality and how I even engage with it. That's why I'm going through a period where I have to release the seals of my soul. And Pluto is the one that's going to do this release. Wherever Pluto is, it constructs, but the spiritual meaning of Pluto is much to do as an awakener. So where Pluto caps over stuff in your energy is where it's awakening. That's why I know all these Capricorns, they're being awakened to greater power than ever because Pluto moves slowly, right? Pluto is going to awaken you to your higher purpose in life. And sometimes it has to destroy everything around you to do that. Whereas Saturn is going to also activate. Saturn is very much so an activator. So when Saturn goes over your Neptune or your Uranus, it's actually giving you that power. It's manifesting it. So the spiritual meaning of Saturn is actually death, and the spiritual meaning of Pluto is life. Even though Pluto is the planet of death and Saturn is the planet of karma. What makes Saturn a planet of death is not so much a planet of death. Saturn is a planet of karma, but it rules death in a lot of ways with Capricorn, because when your karma is up, then you gotta go. You gotta get your ass out of here, okay? When karma is like, when you're done with your karma and it's over, you gotta go. And it's Saturn that's going to kick your ass out. Like, excuse me, your time is up. You may think it's Pluto. Pluto is actually after you pass on. Pluto's gonna resurrect you from death, all right? Pluto gives life more than ever, and it is misunderstood. But Saturn's gonna rule over when you die. That's why I say it's a planet of death, really. When you incarnate, you have to sign a contract, and you be like, I don't want you on my planet for longer than you think. And if you try and find immortality, I'm gonna find you. And I'm gonna kill you because you follow my rules and you're only gonna be here for a certain time. So that's why, like, you want to really watch Saturn contacts to, and if someone dies, because that's really gonna let you know when their karma is over. So death has a lot to do with your karma being done. That's why Moon Saturn people, Sun Saturn people, if they want to kill you, they don't have to like physically kill you. They could just touch your heart and decide your karma ends here. And then find some final destination fatalistic event is going to happen because you don't have any more karma. And so an archangel of death will just export you out. All right, so keep that in mind. Jupiter is going to be one's consciousness. Jupiter is going to have a lot to do with the luck that you have, as well as the philosophy that you're able to harness so that it really opens up one's awareness of things. But I want to bring back this classification because now we're ready at length to hit the planets. Chiron, of course, will deal with not just healing wounds, but Chiron, being that it's trans-Saturnian and it's between Saturn and Uranus, are going to have a lot to do with what needs to shift in your conscious makeup so that you can stop putting yourself in a box and you can embrace the weirder parts of you that are actually just supernatural. So you want to look at Chiron because Chiron is going to help you know where you have to evolve and what's blocking you from evolving. So you can make that shift from Saturn to Uranus, okay? And then the North Node, of course, is the Destiny Gate. So this is a little known secret, and there are exceptions to this because some people have different stuff. But if you want to know what sign you were in a past life, you actually want to look at your North Node, not your South Node. Your South Node, like my South Node was in Leo, so maybe I might have been a Leo in my past life, but I was actually an Aquarius in my past life. And that's why you're gaining karmic lessons from there. But once again, not everyone's like that. Someone could be a Sagittarius who their past life, then they have a North Node in Virgo, but their past life, they were a Pisces. Or an Aries, and they finish the wheels of reincarnation and they choose what sign they want to be. So it's not really like a set in stone law, but not only is the North and South Node destiny or karma, but karma is Saturn. But not only is the North or South Node destiny, it's also going to reveal and illuminate what, especially in transits, what is the flow of destined themes that are occurring. So since the North Node is in Leo, this of course is what is making love the rule and love the law. All right. Other than that, Vesta would really go towards devotion, but this isn't really an Astro webinar, so I'm not going to really talk about stuff other than the planets really. And yeah, so that being said, we're going to get to the classification now, and let me see if I could like make this bigger, bolder, the whole shebang. Okay. Facts that so no. Perfect. So here you go. This is the classification list right here. For those of you who follow me on my page, you've seen me make updated forms of this, so it's borrowing off of that. And as we begin in Aries, we see that, okay, cool. As we begin in Aries, we see that Aries is very much so the warrior, okay? So if you have your sun in Aries, you are a warrior. But warrior is not necessarily the only classification for Aries, because not all of you are warriors. So Aries is also the prototype, the original in every single way, for sure. My Virgo is going crazy, like it's not all lined up, but yeah. And the warrior, the original, the initial energy that very profoundly allows one to be who they are. So the spiritual understanding of Aries is being able to bring everyone back to who they really are. And that's Aries' true power. Whenever you need to know who you are, God will send an Aries to you because they're cardinal. So they're going to come to you and put you in check. God help you if you're fake and you're not being original, because the fire of Aries will burn your ass and it will remind you of who you are. All right, make sure they don't tell you fake, because that'll be who you are. So if you get what I mean, this is the spiritual power of Aries. They can identify others. And this could be used in dark ways as well. They can get people to feel like they're not people who they are. Libras do this too, if they want to be evil. And on the flip side, they could, of course, key you into the truth of who you are. This is why it's an empowering energy. They can empower you with your true identity. So the moons are original and the risings express this authentically. So this is where we get into the decans. And when we get into the decans, this is going to incorporate quite powerfully and positively the energy, this is going to incorporate quite powerfully and positively the energy of the first 10, the 3 zodiac signs. So from 0 to 10 degrees, you will be, and rising signs, this plays, moon signs, this plays. So if you are a moon in Aries, you have the soul of a warrior. If you have an Aries rising, you have the personality of the prototype warrior. So if you have sun, moon, or now, even if you have the Venus or Mercury, now you're going to think like a warrior, or you're going to love like a warrior prototype. So if you have 0 to 9 degrees, you're sub-ruled by Mars. This is like a TA, a teaching assistant, assistant, leader. Because for Aries, Mars is the head OG. And for 0 to 9 degrees, it's Mars. So you don't have a TA. And this is going to make you the warrior, like the bona fide warrior. You're going to go out and you're going to fight for what it is you want. You're going to be cardinal. If you have 10 to 19 degrees of Aries, this is going to make you sub-ruled by the sun. And you're going to be a warrior king. And then, of course, if you're sub-ruled by, or queen, warrior queen, and the 10 to 19 degrees is working with the sun and Mars. So you're cardinal, but you're also fixed. You're moving around and you're attracting stuff to you. You're able to carry your vibrance and your warmth and lead others and still go into battle. And then if you're 20 to 29 degrees Aries, you're sub-ruled by Jupiter. You are the adventurer. You are the one whose battle is enlightenment, and you're going to go out and set forth to gain so much illumination and expansive. You're the luckiest Aries out of all three. Now, I'm going to give you a secret to understanding the decans that is going to serve you so well. All right, and I'm going to craft this with y'all. And once you understand this, this is how I'm able to figure out decans in my head, because I just have to know this one simple thing, okay? So for the fire signs, the decans are always going to be the same. If you notice, I go from 10 to 20 to the second to the third. So for Aries, the second one is always going to be the 5th house. The third one is always going to be the 9th house. All right. So first of all, oops. Fire signs, decans are going to be Mars, Sun, and Jupiter, always. It's just the order of which that will change, and we're going to go into why. For water signs, the decans are always going to be the Moon, Pluto, and Neptune. For air signs, the decans are going to be ruled by Mercury, Venus, and Uranus. And then for earth signs, we have Venus. Some people say Vulcan. I don't believe that. So for Virgo, we have Mercury. Some people say Chiron. I don't believe that. And then, of course, Saturn. But here's the trick with earth signs. There's one ruler of all Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, and it's actually the Earth. The Earth is the ruler of earth signs, and then Saturn and Earth will control Capricorn. Virgo, this is debatable. Chiron has some aspects. I intuitively do not feel that's true. I feel Mercury will be, but I feel Mercury is more Gemini. But Earth, for sure. Virgo, the Earth rules Virgo more than Mercury and Chiron. And then the Earth rules Taurus more than Venus or Vulcan would. So that's a little occult spiritual secret too. The Earth has rulership over earth signs. That's why they're so grounded. And it's also a planet. So as far as the order of this, you just have to go around. So let's take Taurus, right? We know, or let's take Pisces. We know that the 3 decans are going to be Neptune, Pluto, and the Moon. So how are we going to know which order it's in? Well, the first 10 decans of every sign, the natural subruler of the decan is going to be the ruler of the sign. So the first 10 of Aries is going to be that. Let me even write it down. First decan of each sign is the natural sign ruler. Second decan of each sign is the ruler of the 5th house of sign. Third decan of each sign is the ruler of the 9th house of sign. So what this means is, obviously, the first 10 of Pisces will be Neptune. Well, the second 10 is going to be the Moon, because Cancer is the 5th house to Pisces. So the second decan is the Moon, and then the third decan, because we have here, is going to be Pluto. As opposed to Scorpio, the first decan is going to be Pluto. The second decan is going to be what? 5th house to Neptune, to Pisces, Neptune. And the third decan, well, what's the 9th house to Scorpio? Cancer, the Moon. So they're all going to be the same, but that's how you're going to switch them. So let's take Sagittarius, for example. What's the third decan of Sagittarius going to be? Well, we know that the 9th house of Sag is Leo, so it's going to be the Sun. Whereas the Sun for Aries was the second decan. And this is how you know you have second decan Aries, third decan Sag, and first decan Leo. Relationships between these decans, you can get even more into it. So if I know, like, I have special connections with some people, like there's an Aquarius who's going to be subruled by Mercury, and those subruled by Mercury are going to get along with me because I'm subruled by Uranus. So there's a bit of a twist here. And Rowena, great question. Here's the email. Some of you may want this document, so that's totally fine. You can email me at this address, and I can send that to you for sure. I wonder if there's a way I can actually upload it, but I don't think so. But yeah, and then keep that in mind. The four cosmic ruler of the fixed signs: Pluto, the coldest, Earth, Uranus. Awesome. So that being said, if we go back, we just broke down Aries, and let's go back and get to Taurus. So that's a little bit of how those decans work. With the warriors, because there's the Mars, Sun, Jupiter, this is just going to really speak of how potently and authentically, all right, you express your identity. When we get to Taurus, we get the shaman, the connoisseur, who takes in the value of the earth around it. And what's cool about shamans, another thing with Virgo, they could be herbalists. But what's cool about shamans is that they are able to take the energy of the earth and do spells with it and use nature to manifest things. It's actually super gangster. Okay, so this is what makes them naturals. That's why I say they're a connoisseur. One of the gifts about Taurus is that they can be naturals at whatever they do. Whereas Aries has to train for it, Taurus can pick up an instrument and just be naturally gifted. And there's a natural element to this, obviously. Natural. So for the decans, right, obviously from 0 to 9, we have Venus. And Venus is getting ready to move to the next decan. Whereas Uranus is at the Jupiter decan of Aries, and the evolution of our characters are incorporating philosophical, Sagittarian-like Jupiter elements that expand what we know about ourselves. The first decade for this connoisseur shaman energy is Venus. So this is where you're going to have the super beautiful Tauruses. And not only that, I say connoisseur here because this is where you're going to have the Tauruses that drink that fine wine, that they take the grapes of Aries and turn it into something so smooth. Also, from 10 to 19 is going to be Mercury. I have my Venus in this decade. So this is what's going to add to the beauty of Taurus and the manifestation prowess towards gaining analytical information of how to really work with this energy. Okay. And this makes a lot of great book readers, but this is also now going to start incorporating magic and the shamanic properties of the possessions that Taurus already has. This is actually one of the, and then of course the strongest Taurus is the master Taurus, the master manifester from 20 to 29. I have Mercury in my rising here. It's subruled by Saturn. So these are the Tauruses that are not only able to manifest, but really add powerful organization to what they do. A large reason why I was able to organize this channel thus far, the strength of that Taurus energy. So that's the shaman and the connoisseur. These are the people who become naturals for what's already been, what the prototype has already shown. So Aries is the sign from which we take everything and copy, really. I'm just gonna be honest. Nothing's really new from under the sun. And then you get into Gemini. So Gemini is the consciousness, the awareness, the magic that helps you see the light. This is in Plato's cave. Gemini is the one that's like, guys, there's an opening to the cave. And Taurus is all eating like food in the cave, like leave me alone. And Aries is minding his business. Well, if Aries doesn't join Gemini, Gemini is going to go out that cave and now be enlightened to the truth that there's more out there. Okay? And Gemini is the magician. Gemini is going to take the elements take the awareness of the truth that is around them and change the situation with it. Okay? Even though this is the air mage that utilizes the element of wind and the power of words to communicate and paint pictures, there's 3 different types. Okay? If your moon is here, you're enlightened. And if your rising is here, you do everything in life truthfully. Aries risings do everything authentically, and the moons, they're originals. That means no one does it like them. And it's original. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to copy someone else. Taurus is going to do everything naturally. So they're not going to have to force it. It's just a natural process. They don't even have to train that much. They just kind of know certain things. And then, of course, Gemini is going to have an enlightened soul if your moon is here, which is just going to enlighten you to the truth of things. And then they're going to do everything truthfully as rising signs. So the first 10 decans of Gemini is ruled by Mercury, obviously. These are the book nerds, but there's a lot of talented Geminis that I meet at the first decade because their minds are just so quick and they're able to create art very well too. This is where you're going to get to the second decade ruled by Venus from 11 or 10 to 19 degrees. Kanye is here. That's why he's so into fashion, because he's sub-ruled by Venus. These are your beautiful Geminis. These are the Gemini models that you see. These are the Geminis that promote peace. These are the Geminis that like to connect either facetiously or in a positive way, because there's dark sides to everything. But yes, so keep this in mind because Mercury is in this decade right now, beautifying the communication. These are the artists, the Gemini artists that are able to make really beautiful music. And then, of course, you have the 20 to 29. I'm this kind of Gemini. This is sub-ruled by Uranus. These are the revolutionary Geminis, all right? These are the Geminis that revolutionize whatever field they're in. These are the Geminis that, like, you would probably see in a sit-in because they're the rebels. They're going to fight against that which is not necessarily fair. All right, to a degree, the second decade ones too. But the electric quality of Uranus now makes these ones eligible to wield lightning chakra. All right, the only other beings who can manipulate lightning are second decade Libras and first decade Aqua. Well, any Aqua can because Uranus is their planet. So all Aquas can manipulate lightning. Second decade Libras and third decade Geminis. Really keep this in mind because lightning manipulation, that's the only reason why I could even be a lightning sage. Uranus, I'm walking that path of the sky god. Okay, so moving forward, once you progress, I'm going to talk about progressions a little bit too. You can progress from warriors to naturals to magis, and then eventually you're going to progress maybe, if you want to, into a high priestess or a high priest. This is now where you refine your vibration. So one thing I'm going to do is this. Segues. These are the little segues right here. You have your humans. Human consciousness ends at Gemini. It ends at Leo, but human consciousness ends at Gemini. The original human, the natural human, the enlightened human, and then you get the superhumans at Cancer and Leo. Yeah, you thought I wasn't going to expose you, Cancer and Leo? You thought y'all can just be like superhumans and have your cake and eat it too? Well, it's okay for Cancer and Leo because they're out here really trying to save the world and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Then you have your angels with Virgo and Libra, and then the rest are gods and goddesses. Okay. You people, I'm going to expose the crap out of you people. I don't know what the hell y'all are doing here. You angels, you all right. I know Libra, you out here scheming. You think you can do everything. Virgo's out here faithful, so it's all good. Although, I'm going to still fry you guys a little bit. You guys are straight. If you're humans like me, then I'm going to be totally biased towards you, and I won't throw shade. Because y'all are real. You know, y'all are humans going through this. You guys aren't like gods and goddesses who have just so much power for no reason. And it's just you're stunning on everyone. And then we have the superhumans who are kind of like the angels. They're kind of like a little bit back and forth. You know what I'm talking about? And they're able to like maneuver and whatnot. So when we get to the superhumans, these are people who are able to refine their vibration so wholly. Like if you don't think being a Cancer is superhuman, then you must not understand you don't understand the psychic power of emotions. The fact that you can feel what other people feel, that's superhuman. Being able to connect empathetically with others and to help others feel well, that's superhuman power. And then Leo takes it a step further and they will open your heart. That's why they're holy, and that's why Cancer is awesome. Okay? And that's what makes, at an even greater level, these energies so sought after. These are like the top two, really, positionally, even though you want to look at Aquarius and Pisces as that as well. Regardless, though, Cancer now is the high priest / high priestess whose vibration has to be holy. Their vibration is pure and divine so that they can access these higher vibrations. One thing about accessing high frequencies, if you don't have a holy frequency, you're not going to be able to access it because it has to be holy. You have to do the work to make sure you feel good and pure about things. And that's an attainment. Not everyone's holy. That's why Mars in Cancer is tough, because we have to refine our actions and intent so we have holy intentions like Cancer does. That's why most Cancers, even watching this, they pray over others. That's superhuman. I have Aries. I'm not even going to care about other people. Now that I'm progressed into Cancer and I'm having my high priest initiation, I'm starting to have to care. I'm starting to have to be aware of feelings. And it sucks because I just want to be a narcissistic asshole. But Cancer's not letting me. And Scorpio won't let me either because they're up here. Screw y'all. And then what's great about being a Cancer is that it allows you to sincerely express your vibrations. So keep that in mind. And before we do the decans, I really want you to keep in mind that there's a really huge emphasis of how these stick together. This is why this combination and synastry, like a Leo and a Cancer together, make a great combo if they don't kill each other first, because of this energy, the darkness of the holiness of water and the light of the righteousness of fire. All right, where Cancer has to shadow Leo so they don't like get lost. So the first decan of Cancer is the moon. These are the high priests and high priestesses that are able to really feel out powerfully, not only your emotions, but influence how you're going to feel, influence what you're going to feel, and also restore your feelings. One thing about a high priestess and a high priest, they're healers. These are the healers of the zodiac, and they restore your emotional being with the holiness of their feeling. So these are what's going to make you feel good and balance out. Superhuman shit. Like humans can't do this. You have to be superhuman to do this, okay? Now, we get a little freaky. The next decan here is subruled by Pluto. These are the necromancers. These are the occult Cancers who know the secrets of life, okay? They're the high priestesses who are entrusted with the deeper secrets of the temple. And they're the psychological Cancers who are able to probe so deeply into your soul psychologically, they can manipulate you without saying a single word. But whereas the first decan Cancer heals your emotions, the second decan Cancer is going to heal you psychologically. So they can heal psychological trauma of how you feel this. Okay. The third decan now are the wizards, but the wizards are really, you know, Pisces. So let me put that to Mother Genie, Wizards, Mother Goddess. And this is important because it's very important because what this incorporates at a great level, as a third decan Pisces ruled by Neptune, these are the Cancers that have powerful dreams. These are the Cancers that can delve into the spiritual realm. And these are the Cancers that are able to of course, at a master level, manifest their dreams and make them reality. So if this was the psychic Cancer and this was the more psychological Cancers, the magic Cancers are the last decade, whereas the magic Aries are the last decade. Okay, and the psychic Aries are the first, even though they're all psychic. So you have the magic psychics at the last one. Then we move into Leo. Let me check the comments, see if y'all are doing well. Okay. Then we move into Leo. And with Leo, the decans we have here, or before the decans, Leos are sorcerers. Now, what Leos also are love warriors, but are the kings of love, the kings and queens of love. Another thing to keep in mind with the fixed signs that I didn't mention is, yeah, they're love, but they're all royalty. So there's sometimes I'll read someone's chart and they have sun, moon, and rising in a fixed sign. That's a true king or queen. Mutable signs are princes and princesses. And then cardinal signs are, they could be kings and queens, but they're more like business people in a certain sense. So keep that in mind, because what this is going to do at a great powerful level is key you in to the royal elements of what goes on. Royalty has karmic authority. So fixed signs can do things, fixed signs can have things happen to them that others have to work more for. So as Leos, I say they're sorcerers because even though sorcery has a connotation of wizardry, I'm kind of changing the definition. As a sorcerer, Leos are able to manifest the intentions of their heart just by loving it. So just like everything revolves around the sun, everything that they want to manifest is going to revolve around what they love. And whereas a magician or a high priestess, a magician may have to do magic spells, a warrior may have to do some things, a shaman may have to prepare certain stuff, a high priestess may have to feel a certain way, a sorcerer just has to have an open heart. And it's like Disney, where they can now walk forward in life experiencing things, not having to worry what to do. It's an exclusive position, and that's why it's awesome, but it's also righteous. And that righteous fire influenced by Sagittarius is also going to hit the Leo consciousness quite profoundly. Okay, so the first decan that we have here, of course, is the sun. These are going to be your fundamentally open, loving, very attention-seeking, vibrant, warm Leos. Then, of course, we have the adventurous Leos, the magic Leos, the luckiest Leos ever, the ones who are sub-ruled by Jupiter, because, of course, Sagittarius. So these are like the Sagittarius Leos who are adventurous and who are going to take that love in their hearts and they're going to add luck to everything they touch. The magic that they're able to do is a certain special fire magic that could very potently and very powerfully, once again, add like a certain Midas touch kind of thing. Or effect to whatever it is they're engaging in. And now the final decan is, of course, sub-ruled by Mars, where the North Node is, and that's why a lot of destiny is coming into action now. And these are just like the warrior kings. Like if you notice, the warrior king was the sun decan, and then this is the Mars decan. So they're not necessarily the warrior king as much as they are the very passionate sorcerers who are able to psychically project the beams of their heart to open whatever doors that they want. Once again, they do this awesomely and righteously. So I'm going to get into the angelic portion of this, but I just want to check in on everyone. How's everyone doing? How's everyone feeling? How does everyone feel about this information so far? what very important thing you want to do is to take the meanings of the planets and to put them in these decans. All right. So if you have like a Venus in Gemini, then you have love magic. You know what I'm saying? Or if you have Mars in Gemini, you have sex magic. Okay. And you want to kind of apply the magical quality to the actions you're going to take or to the love you're going to have. And this is important when we talk about the North Node, because you have different types of destinies. You have fixed destinies that are in fixed signs. You have magical destinies that are immutable signs, and you have cardinal destinies, or rather power destinies that are in cardinal signs. So if you have a North Node in Aries, Libra, Cancer, or Capricorn, then, and this video is going to be available forever, so worry not. But yeah, if you have cardinal signs, I mean, unless they shut down the channel and I lose everything. But if you have North Node in cardinal signs, then you have destinies of power. Power destinies are linked into your character, and that means it's your destiny to become someone important. All right. The thing with powerful destinies and North Node and cardinal signs is that they only go as far as you take it. Okay. They like, however far your destiny goes is however far you personally take it with your own power. All right. So if you're a cardinal sign with a cardinal destiny, you're going to have a lot more power over it than, say, a fixed sign or a mutable sign. All right. If you have North Node in Aries, right, that's my personal favorite, because it's your destiny to do whatever you want to do, whatever decisions you have. Versus North Node in Libras, you have to compromise. In every relationship, you have to compromise, and it sucks. But you get the power of people. Capricorn, and then of course Cancer, they're going to incorporate how far and how powerful you take certain things in your life. All right. And then fixed destinies, North Node in Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, they're fixed. That means everything that's meant to happen to you in your destiny is going to happen. There's no, that's the whole thing, where it's like, whatever is meant to happen is meant to happen. You can't change what's meant to happen. That's really exclusive to fixed signs, because it's fixed. Like, once you, like a video game, fulfill certain requirements, blah, this is when you're going to be able to achieve the next part of your destiny. All right. For those of you who are just coming on, don't worry. The access to this link is going to be here for as long as this channel is up. So you'll be able to watch as much as you want, as many times as you want. But yeah, fixed sign destinies like me. I have a fixed sign Aquarius. So it's cool as a Gemini. I can just be, because I know everything that I'm meant to do is going to happen. It's fixed, right? Cardinal is not necessarily a choice, but it's your own decision. Cardinal is more a decision, which is like a choice, right? But it's more your destiny is activated by the decisions you make. Whereas me, it doesn't matter what decisions I make. Whatever I'm meant to experience, I'm going to experience as a North Node. All right. The North, and then of course, if it's in a mutable sign, then that means your destiny is magical. And this could be a bit like difficult, because magical destinies, they're not set in stone. The cool thing about magical destinies, if you have your North Node in Gemini, Sag, Pisces, or Virgo, you could change your life instantly. And you would just have to be at the right place at the right time. But it's like with magical destinies, it has a lot to do with your experience. And things aren't set in stone. And it doesn't matter where you take it, at a moment's notice, whatever you're destined to do can change at a drop of a hat. And of course, this is going to really flow more with transits. If you have a mutable magical destiny, it's going to really kind of go a little bit, it's going to fluctuate by transits. Those are the only ones that are influenced by transits more. Whereas cardinal destinies, they're influenced by you, and then fixed destinies, they're already fixed. Crystal, I'm actually creating a new service to where if you want a special chart reading where I just interpret the spiritual part of it, like instead of saying, oh, your sun's in Scorpio, so if this is in the sixth house, I can just say, okay, you're a magi, you love like this. And so if you want to get influence of the planets, that's what that service will be. But I'll launch that too when we put that out. So that's a little bit about incorporating the nodes and the planets in these cardinals. That's why I started off with the elements and the cardinals. So it's kind of like plug, play, mix and match and whatnot. There will be a spiritual astrology intermediate webinar because this is still the basics. So in the basics, I'm really just giving you the concepts. In the intermediate webinar, we're going to go deeper into what each planet in these properties are. We're going to go deeper into the decans. We're going to go deeper into the destiny chart. So I'll be like, this is North Node in Cap as opposed to North Node in Aries. We're going to implement some spiritual chart reading techniques as well. But until then, and maybe some asteroids. But for now, we're just purely doing the basics. I'm just giving you the signs and the decans as well. And that being said, let's go back to the angelic portion of this chart as we wrap this webinar up. I mean, we still have a long ways to go, but yes. Now we get to the angels, the ones who are too cool for school, the ones who really think they run everything, because a lot of these gods are extinct and ancient. And a lot of these sun signs who incarnate here, they don't really channel the pure energy of the gods, but that's changing because of this South Node in Pisces. A lot of people don't know the South Node in Pisces transit is awakening the gods and goddesses. It awakened Pisces, so if you have sun or moon here, it awakened the goddess or god in you, and now Aquarius is going, and then Cap and Sag. And please, this happens every 20 years, okay? So it's nothing exclusively new, except it is because Uranus is in Aries, highlighting the identity of who you are, and that's what's kind of making us come in. Oh, like so. So, we get to the angels. Virgo is very much so the scientist of the zodiac. Virgo and Aquarius. I like to think Aquarius is really, but Virgo is like the scientific understudy of this lower world. Virgos are really angels who service the humans, but then also service the higher world. Okay, so you have lower world, higher world. So I have the angels here, but I also have to do this. The plus is the split between the lower world and the higher world. Okay. Everything after Libra is the higher realm. That's why you have the archangels servicing the gods and the angels servicing the humans. So if you're a Virgo with like an Aquarius, you're like a Virgo who is an exception to the rule, and you'll service a cosmic god. Or if you're a Libra with a Taurus, you might be an archangel who helps out a shaman. You know what I'm saying? Even though you still service the higher beings, and even though Virgo still services the lower beings in the lower world. So angels are the masters of consciousness. That's another name that I have, masters of consciousness, because you're perfectly aware of all the details and how all this human experience comes together. This is why Pisces is opposite you. This is why a lot of you like to have the final say, because you're really aware of certain details that others will miss if they're not aware or paying attention to. And I say y'all are angels, though, because you really do represent the perfection of experience. And Virgos really are perfect. Like, whenever a Virgo's like, I'm not perfect, I just laughed. I'd be like, who are you kidding? Like, stop trying to be modest, all right? We know you have 12th house Leo, Virgo. So we know that behind closed doors, you're like, yeah, I'm the shit. No one's more perfect than me. The PZ will expose you right now. But you're cool because you're angels, and you do all the work anyway. You do all God's work. So if it wasn't for y'all, we'd be screwed. No one else would really know how to do what you do. So keep that in mind. The Virgo moons are perfect souls. The Leo moons are awesome souls. The Cancer moons are holy souls. The Gemini moons are enlightened souls. The Taurus moons are natural souls. And the Aries moons are original souls. And the Virgo risings express things flawlessly. Okay, so when we go to the decans, you have the fundamental angel who is very keyed into the experience and logically ruled. And then with the second decan, you have the industrious angel. This angel is going to be sub-ruled by Saturn. So they're going to be more on point. They're going to be more on top with their money. They're definitely going to be super organized. These are the ones that are going to be super OCD the first 2 decades. Like everything has to be a certain way. And if it's not controlled, they will go like neurotic on your ass. But the second decan Virgos are the most powerful Virgos because that energy of Saturn is they're the psychic Virgos, right? And then of course the love Virgos, the ones that are ruled by Venus and Earth, these are the sexiest Virgos ever. Like, oh my gosh, I've seen one like this. Like these Virgos are sub-ruled by Venus. They're like the model Virgos, okay? And one exclusive thing with first decan Taurus, third decan Virgo, and second decan Capricorn, sexiest earth signs ever. Like they have beauty, a lot of beauty. Even if not conventionally, they'll apply this beauty to what they do. All right, so keep that in mind. That's the whole Venusian effect and influence. Yeah, and what makes this cool with Venus, this decan of angels, they're the love angels. So these are the angels that really work on relationships. Second decan Virgos are the angels that work with like organizations and corporations. And then the first decan Virgos work with, you know, the everyday lifestyle decisions that people need to be influenced, manipulated to make. I mean, influenced to make or to just make. And now we get, of course, to Libra, the artist of the zodiac, or like I like to say, the archangels. All right. I'm a classic, man. All right. That was made by an Aries, an original. Jadena, he's an Aries. But obviously, his opposite sign, Libra, that's classic. That's refining the raw nature of who you are. Aries can very much so be a savage. And I'm all about that savage life. I love it. To a degree. And then, of course, you refine that personality in Libra. You become artistic. You take the love of Leo and you now refine it in charming ways that add to the altruistic nature of how you can balance and make everyone feel involved. This is the most political sign of the zodiac because Libra is going to be aware of the social politics. Who cares about what? Why is this person feeling this way? This is what spiritually helps them be so aware of everything, but it's really because they're archangels that carry with their own selves a greater amount of power, as well as through their art, influence and charm the pants off of people. Just look at Usher. I'm so jealous. And of course, if your moon is in Libra, you are a classic soul. Or an artistic soul, which is another keyword that may ring true. Yes, my Virgo is happy now. Oh my God. And the first decan, of course, we have is Venus. So these are the ones that are very tied in to the love and charm of life. First decan Libras will charm the pants off of you. They just have to have a conversation and you'll love them and you won't even know why for real. You may think they're a little superficial, but it doesn't matter because you're going to love them or you're going to hate that you love them. So you're going to find some dumb excuse about them not being deep enough, even though no one really cares about that crap. But, oh, well, maybe if you're Scorpio, then you care, but who cares? I'm just joking. And then we have the second decan Libra, who is sub-ruled by Uranus. These are the Libras that you're going to see carry that speakerphone and build a million-man march. These are the Libras that are going to go down their Rolodex or their phone with like millions of people because they know everybody, and they're going to fight for your rights. They're going to go to the law courts and they're going to make sure that certain bills are changed so it's equal and fair for everyone. These are your social justice warriors who are going to so eloquently tell you why you're a piece of crap for using the wrong word that so horribly segments a certain group of people. They're nightmares to savages like us, but it's all good. Well, not us, but me. But I'm just joking. I'm just being purely sarcastic. This is a very powerful electric decan, and this is a decan of Libra that can manipulate electricity. Then you have the third decan. These are more of the very intellectual, super logical Libras. They're also the magic Libras because they can take their awareness of the social situations and with their lightning fast minds, with Mercury processing it, communicate so potently, you just wonder, wow, how is this person so brilliant That's the third decan effect of these archangels. Another thing that's powerful about these Libras is it allows one to, their power of psychic social situationships can really allow them to maneuver and to get certain things because they know how to talk to people. A lot of people don't even know this is psychic power they're using because their words are so charmingly effortless. You just think, wow, this is a cool person. Don't even know you're being played, but it's all good. I don't want to expose too much of the angels because I'm going to expose you gods and goddesses walking around like you can be so swaggy, especially you Sagittarius. You just going to be out here shining, out here with Capricorn, Aquarius, all super powerful and super knowledgeable, like you allowed to have your cake and eat it too and be omnipotent, omniscient gods and goddesses and just have supernatural psychic experiences. Oh, but you want to have feelings too. And you want to just, you want to just like have vulnerabilities. I'm sorry, y'all. You can't be super potent and then also have vulnerabilities. Leave that to us humans, because you be out here giving expectations to humans, trying to be like gods, and it's just like, we ain't you. We are not all you, okay? It is what it is. It is what it is. And let's get back into this, because I'm not trying to just have a hissy fit, you know. I say this because I'm jealous. I'm very jealous. I'm super jealous, actually, but it's all good. And we'll start with Scorpio. Scorpio is the purity of consciousness. This is what, once you get past the gateway of the gods, that the archangels, the watchers, make sure those who are not worthy don't pass through, you get to Scorpio. Now, Scorpio and Sagittarius is the realm of hell. And then you have Earth, purgatory. And then you have heaven, Aquarius and Pisces. Don't be misled. The realm of hell is a party spot. This is the most intense, fun party spot ever. Once you get here, you get a bunch of complacent aliens and angels who think they're too cool. Classical music playing. It's really boring in heaven, but it's so serenely peaceful, you won't care. But the ragers all happen down here, bro. This is your local nightclub. You wouldn't even know, the nightlife. Anyway, Scorpio is the demigod, demon goddess. If you're a man Scorpio, you're a demigod. So you're half angel, half god. Or half human, as they say, but it's really half angel, half god. If you're a woman, you're a demon goddess. And both demigods and demon goddesses have authority with their pure spirits over demons, over dark spirits, and over impurities. That means you can control them. That means if you see them within people, you can cast demons into people to possess them and make them your slaves, or you can be an exorcist and cast them out of people. If you have a Scorpio moon, you have a pure soul, and your rising sign makes you do things purely. But this is important, the purity of consciousness. That subruling to Pluto with the first decan especially, but for the whole sign, is going to really key and make people like this very intensely, and let me say, pure. That's why the distortion of this sign can make Scorpios super evil if they don't tap into that purity, but eventually Scorpios are going to have to go through that transformation to get to that purity, ultimately, if you see what I mean. So this is what makes them very much so demigoddesses. And I do say demon goddess. Once we get into Sagittarius and Scorpio, because these are existential archetypal beings, you'll find that they can implement any elements of this. Like, this isn't an official classification, but Scorpio can be a magi. Scorpio can be a high priest, high priestess, but these are more so under the masks that they'll play. All right. Keyword though, God, goddess. And what makes this superpowered is the pureness of intent. This is what makes Scorpio spiritually able to know at the core certain things. Their purity, which through that vibration lets them know how pure others are or not. Even the most evil Scorpios still have this pure consciousness. So when they want to choose to be good, they can. That's what makes them evil, if they choose not to be. Choose not to be. So the second decan, of course, is ruled by Neptune. And these are the demigod, demon goddesses that are magic. These are the ones that can invoke illusions. These are the ones that entrance people, and they can hypnotically engage people with their seductive charm. Whereas the Plutonian ones are just going to make you so horny, they don't have to entrance you. They're just going to, at a core level, really just have you feel something etheric. And then the final decade, the ones subruled by the moon, these are the ones you want to watch out for. These are the Scorpios that will get you so deeply in your feelings, it'll feel like heroin. And one thing to know about all 3 decades of the Scorpios, at the level of gods and goddesses, they know what they're doing. Whereas a Cancer may just go through the experience and still knows what they're doing, these people really know how they're manipulating the crap out of you. This is deeply psychological, okay? And the psychological effect of the 2nd decan will be more magical and illusory and play on your senses, whereas the 3rd decan will play to your emotions psychologically. And now with the Scorpio energy, pick up on emotions you didn't even know you had. Transform and purge them. And now this is also not necessarily healing, but the miracle healing for the 3rd decan, but this is more going to purge deep psychological facets, and the healing will come from the purging. Next, we get to Sagittarius, the amazing ones. And Sagittarius, crap. Screw it. The Sagittarius influence, the reason why I say the creator or God is really just the creator, okay? But what kind of really lends to this, however, is at a great level. Hold on. What really lends to all this is at a great level the willingness and the ability of Sagittarius, which this is exclusive to. Oh God. To be the wild card. So Sagittarius is the only sign that could be every single one of these. Sagittarius could be an angel, Sagittarius could be a demon, Sagittarius could be a devil, Sagittarius could be a genie, Sagittarius could be an alien, Sagittarius could be a high priest, Sagittarius could be a sorcerer, magi, shaman, warrior, blah. And the magic of Sagittarius is this high tier magic where they can create anything they have a vision of. That's what makes them amazing. They are the extension of Leo, love, brought down into creation with joy. Whereas you have love, and the 5th house of love is joy. The experience of love is joy, where you have to be joyful to really experience the amazing awesomeness of love. And this is what Sagittarius carries with them. This is what makes them contagious and lucky. They have the power of luck and fate and destiny because of this, with the power of Jupiter. So the 1st decan Sages are happy-go-lucky and super optimistic for this reason. Whereas the 2nd decan of Sag is going to be more direct. These are going to be the psychic Sagittariuses who they're ambitious enough to go after whatever they want. Whereas the 1st decan Sag, they just want to experience fun. The 2nd decan Sag is going to be that warrior creator that's going to fight for their beliefs. And that's also going to manifest through the extension of sexually and directly going after what they desire. As such, you'll find 2nd decan Sages are really sexy. They're the ones that are going to be able to evoke a sexual vibe more than the others. Whereas the last decan Sag, these are the ones that carry the light of the sun, and they shine so goddamn bright, you have to have sunglasses next to them. These are the regal Sagittariuses, who you can just tell they either come from royalty with the way they carry themselves, or there's just so much love with their joy. I used to be obsessed with a Sagittarius who was like this. She had her moon in Taurus and her Venus in Scorpio. I didn't know what to do with myself. So it's the real deal, especially since it was opposite my Uranus decan, right? So we had that connection. But regardless, that's the flow of Sagittarius. And one key to understanding Sagittarius has much to do profoundly with the freedom that is granted in this space to authentically be as free and filled with joy as you can. Next, we get to Capricorn, and the reason why I said director is because everything that's created needs to be organized, so that Sagittarius has no responsibility to literally take care of what they created. You know, that's why Sag men walk out on their kids the most out of any other sign. Maybe Aries, right? And that's not to say that they can't be there for their kids, but that there's a reason for that. They're adventurers. So Goddess takes care of it. Goddess directs everything that's created. All right. And a subsect of the Goddess clan are devils. All right. Devils are an extension of demons. Goddesses have control over devils. Devils are just like evolved demons who, like archangels, have consciousness. So an angel is just more an experience. An angelic being is programmed to follow the orders of God, just like a demon is followed to program the orders of its superior. That superior is probably going to be a devil that has its own conscious awareness and now has very powerful mind control and manipulation prowess. Goddesses, as far as Capricorns, are here to direct the power of the cosmos, and that's why they're very controlling, because Saturn already has given them the to-do list. They already have the to-do list, and they know what to tell others to do and how to direct other people's lives. So if your life needs direction or putting together, you're gonna have a Capricorn sent to you. But it's not like Aries where they'll just tell you who you are. You have to be ready for Capricorn, because if you're not worthy or ready, then you're gonna waste their time. If you waste their time, that's worse than betraying a Scorpio. Trust me. So if you have a Sagittarius moon, you have an amazing soul, and the risings do everything amazing. If you have a Capricorn moon, you have a great soul, the greatest soul, ha! And the risings do everything powerfully. Okay. Another keyword for Sagittarius, as opposed to amazing, is also best. That's another thing too. And then, of course, greatest and powerfully. So regardless, to add to this energy, the first decade of Capricorn is going to be reminiscent of the last decade of Taurus, and a second of Virgo. These are your industrial caps, but these are also the devils. This is the lower tier goddess, whereas the higher tier goddess is here. But the lower tier is more the influence of the devils, because this is still the initial influence. And don't get it twisted, like Capricorn is the devil, period. So you're gonna have that influence on all the different types of goddesses and devils here. But you have some pure goddesses, like a Capricorn with a Scorpio moon. She's not gonna be a devil. She's gonna be a pure goddess who has refined the negative parts of that devil energy, as opposed to, say, a double cap or maybe any other moon sign cap. So this first decade is going to really have the control freak Capricorn that literally has to have it their way in the highway. And then the second decade is the top model. These are, I've seen, the most gorgeous Capricorns I've seen is with this decade. So I went from being obsessed with a third decade Sag to now a second decade Cap. And I'm not very pleased, but it is what it is. And second decade ruled by Venus is what's going to allow this type of Capricorn to have so much control over beauty. And this is what makes them very charming, okay? This is what gravitates and allows things to kind of just come to them at will. Another key feature about this, if you think about the energy of Venus, which is what facilitates this, the shamanic quality that Taurus has, this is the witchcraft decade. So from 10 to 19, you have witchcraft, but specifically, the witchcraft is from 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Okay, those 5 degrees are witchcraft. Where 15 is the grand witch. 15 degrees Cap is the peak of consciousness, and this is the Triforce. This is the all-seeing eye, the top of the mountain. where you go down the mountain at the rest of Cap. Whereas this Cancer is the depth of the ocean, the most deep part. So keep that in mind. 15 degrees Cancer and Cap, most powerful degrees in astrology. Other than 29 degrees, which will be the next most powerful, but also as powerful as 15, just in different ways. So yeah, if you have your sun 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 Cap, congratulations, you are a witch. You are a goddess witch, but you are a witch. As opposed to if you're a final decan, sub-ruled by Mercury or the Earth, you are a higher tier goddess who has mastered control and now can extend this control very analytically, very logically. And these are the Capricorns who are very eloquent with their words. These are the Capricorns that know how to analyze situations like bosses. And now they don't really need analysts. They can do it themselves. But keep this in mind for you witches out here. If you have your moon here, you have the soul of one. If you are a Virgo sun or a Taurus sun with a moon in these degrees, then you are eligible to be a witch or to study witchcraft. But you have to be initiated by a sun in Cap in these degrees. Very important. 18, 19 to a degree will have it, just like 10 and 11, but they're not that potent. Not that potent. 12 as well. All right. And so next we have, so I just talked about the lower level gods and goddesses. Now we have the higher level gods and goddesses. All right. And let me just make that distinction right there as well. Because the difference between Capricorn and Aquarius is literally the difference between space. Like huge difference. These are the gods and goddesses that have corporeal forms. These don't have corporeal forms. They're just exist. They're the universe in existence. They're on a whole nother level, guys. A whole nother level. Keep that in mind. So you have the humans, you have the angels, and you have the gods and goddesses. Out of the humans, you have the fundamental basic humans, you have the superhumans, then you have the angels, then you have the first tier level gods and goddesses, and then you have the real deal gods and goddesses. So Aquarius, Pisces, these are the two signs spiritually that sparked everything. All right. And, Aquarius made the game. Pisces plays the game. Pisces is the game, really. But Pisces was the mother goddess that created all. As Aquarius, the shadow 12th house of Pisces, was what was needed in order to, in a certain sense, gain a very knowledgeable understanding of what this existence is. So Aquarius is that cosmic god, the extraterrestrial, the awareness of different galaxies, and most importantly, the knowledge of all that is, the final octave of friendship. The aqua moons are advanced souls, really amazing people. And their risings, they do everything cosmically or advanced. They do everything totally. That's another good adverb. Or uniquely is a better adverb. Uniquely. Kind of similar to Aries, the theme of originality. One thing about Aquarius is they're also omniscient, which is if you have this energy, you just know things. And this gets suppressed with Sagittarius because people don't want you to have that power. So they're going to Virgo you and be like, hey, fork up your evidence. What's the proof? When sometimes you don't need proof for certain things, you just channel. Okay? Keep that in mind. So for the decans, we have Uranus for the first decan, the lightning quick aquas who are able to really harness the electricity to quantum shift things and to be those rebels in society when things need to be changed accordingly. Then you have the magical aquas, the ones that are sub-ruled by Mercury. These are the aquas that are going to be logical at one level and kind of debunk anything that is knowledgeable or not true. But what makes them magic is how they're able to use their words. And they could be even more magic with Gemini than Gemini or with Gemini because now they know the words that they're speaking as opposed to Gemini that would just say the words and experience the magic that comes. Now they know the experience they're facilitating. And the last decan, of course, is Venus. And these are the very beautiful but also politically inclined aquas. So they're definitely going to be the Aquarians that are very much so into fashion, which the fashion police is so Libra, right? But these are going to be your fashionable aquas, but they're also going to be the aquas who have the knowledge of love. So these are your love aliens, all right, which is very important. And they can use their cosmic power to create relationships by speaking them into existence. So if you have your moon or sun in that decade, now you know, or rising. And finally, we get to Pisces, the genies. When there was just nothingness, Pisces was all that existed. The mother goddess that split itself into 12 and more than 12 so that we can all experience different facets of spirit. Because Pisces is spirit. All of these are elements, but Pisces is actually the ether, the fifth element. It's kind of incorrect to say that Pisces is a water sign because Pisces isn't really a water sign. Pisces is spirit. That's why if your moon is in Pisces, you have a divine soul, and the risings do things divinely. So Pisces is the genie, but they're also wizards. For Pisces men, they're wizards. If you're a Pisces woman, you're a divine goddess, all right, or a genie goddess. Genies, of course, make wishes come true with the energy of Neptune. So the first deck in Pisces are very much so genies. All right. The second deck in Pisces are very much so wizards that implement occult hidden themes and mix it with their magic in order to literally create wizardry. And this will implement some level of sorcery because Leo is their sixth house. So this is how they take their wizardry and manifest it through their lifestyle. A wizard lives a sorcerer's lifestyle. So that's kind of where that mix-up comes in. That's why a lot of people think sorcerers are wizards, but no, a wizard just lives the lifestyle of a sorcerer. And then the last decade, and I'm wrong. The last decade is wizardry. The second decade is the moon. So these are like the high priest magi's, the psychic Pisces who are able to heal people's emotions with the peace that they express. And that's one key feature of Pisces. It's the sign of peace, the peace that comes with nothingness. When we die, nothing ceases to exist anymore. And you're peaceful because you don't have to deal with anything else. The last decan, of course, is the wizards. Serious attainment. This is like the most psychically magical Pisces ever, the last two decans. And they're still all genies too, so they do grant wishes. But yeah, something important to keep in mind. We've gone through the zodiac, and yeah, this has been really fun. I'm still going to talk about the houses right now and the MC, which is important to keep in mind. All right. What's really important about the houses and the spiritual nature of them, they align with the signs a bit, but you want to keep this in mind as the first house, the seventh house, the midheaven, and the IC, they all have everything to do with your identity following the first. And however you spiritually harness this, like I have a Taurus rising. So even though I'm a Magi, and even though I express it naturally, it has a lot to do with the shamanistic identity as a Magi that I express greatly with my moon, in the greatest way with my moon, okay? And the spiritual meaning of the first house is who you are, which isn't even that spiritual, it's just like fundamental, right? It's who you are, but the spiritual implications have a lot to do with how you could anchor and stoke this to build power and return back to that knowledge and awareness of who you is, who you be. And then of course, the second house will have to do with the values that you have that mark your self-esteem. The third house is very magic because it's your attitude. Or let me just break it down by like the cardinals and whatnot. So you do have the houses, right? And this has everything to do with your identity, which is marked by the relationships that you're going to attract based on who you are. And then from who you are at the first to your relationships at the 7th, how much do you keep those relationships public versus how much do you keep it private? So yeah, you have the spectrum from the 1st to 7th. If a lot is in the lower hemisphere, you're more private and home-based. If it's northern hemisphere, it's more public. Empty houses are going to really speak of areas of development that you haven't developed, so you will wait for other people to fill it in. For example, I don't have 6th house energy. I don't have 7th house energy. So I don't have relationships. I don't have 5th house energy. So these are energies that are going to motivate you to go out, meet people, and to have an actual routine. But if you don't have, if they're empty, then there's no energy there, right? So there are places that you can still develop, but you're going to focus to where your houses are, all right? Someone with only 1st house energy is going to focus on themselves. That does not make them selfish. That makes them self-focused, as opposed to someone who only has 7th house energy. Their 1st house is going to be empty, so they have to learn how to care more about themselves. Whereas the person with the empty 7th house, they have to learn how to care more about others because it's empty. So they're not even focused on others. They don't even know others exist because they're focused more on the 1st. Okay. Privacy is going to be more 4th. Public is going to be more 10th. All right. So keep that in mind, especially during transits. Now, when we get to the fixed houses, 2nd, 5th, 8th, and 11th, this has everything to do with these currencies that I was talking about. 2nd house to do with possessions and values, but 11th house to do with your network. The strength of your 11th house is who you know publicly, right? And not only who you know, how you gain from your connects. This is having that amazing mailing list or networking list at the 11th house. And then the 8th house and the 5th house have to do with your boundaries and your love. Because get this, you have what you love in the 5th house. So the 11th house is the audience to that. And how well people balance what you love with the 5th is the audience that you choose with the 11th. However, what you produce and love is going to come out from the 2nd. Okay. And that's why the 8th house is a house of trust. Because yeah, you have your love. Yeah, you have trust, but then you have other people. And you have to know who you can trust out of these other people. That's why Aquarius and Scorpio 11th, 8th house squares. 11th, 11th, 8th house squares have to do with trusting others, and they have to do with having trust issues, with how much you trust others with certain private themes. Whereas 11th, 2nd house squares have to do with self-esteem and how well you can take the courage in your heart and bring it out to others. Keep that in mind. This is definitely very powerful because of that 8th house, which has more to do with intimacy and transformation through trust, through being able to trust people with what your 2nd house, what you have. All right. And then, of course, the 5th house has much to do at great length with what you love, which is going to influence all about the other things. All right. When we get to the mutable houses, when we get to the mutable houses are going to have a lot to do with the experience and the magic. This is where we're getting back to the states. The mutable houses have a lot to do with your experience of events, as well as how well you see certain things that are occurring. So when it comes to these mutable sign energies, then the 3rd house has everything to do with the attitude that you fine tune in order to really stay true and steady to what's occurring. And the importance of mutable sign energies has much to do with how you can harness this magic in your life so that you're in a better position to see clearly how you're harnessing everything else that's being, played. One moment. Oh my God. So the 3rd house has everything to do with one's attitude and how you see things. This is where the magical elements of things kind of come into play. And this is where the lower tier magic has to balance with the higher tier magic. My apologies. All right. So the third house has everything to do with your attitude and the thoughts that you think, the words that you speak, and how you see things, which will translate to the ninth house. This is why your third house and your sixth house have to be congruent, because if you say certain things, they have to balance with your lifestyle. So the attitude that you have incorporates themes that you literally walk and do every day. All right. So the thoughts that you think, you apply to the actions you take to what you be. The sixth house is one of the most important houses in the zodiac because that puts everything together. The first five houses, your identity, your values, your attitude, your private concerns and family, and your love all have to be a part of your lifestyle. And if they're not balancing your lifestyle, you can't have a relationship that's going to work out, because your lifestyle has to match, not only be balanced for you, but be balanced for the partner that you're in. And that's what makes or breaks relationships. The lifestyles. You can't be in love with someone. You can be in love with someone, and both of you can have the best compatibility. But if that person has the lifestyle of a crack addict and you have the lifestyle of a successful business owner, it's not going to last, because your lifestyles have to match. All right. So when we get to the ninth house, this is your beliefs that take your attitudes, right? You may think that love is for everyone, and that might be your attitude, that everyone's worthy of love. But if you believe that you're not worthy of love, that contradicts your attitude. And that's going to contradict your lifestyle, because you're not going to live the life of someone who's worthy of love. And then, of course, all of this goes around to your 12th house, which is the house of spirituality. The 12th house is a very spiritual house that implements and incorporates the spiritual lifestyle that you live, where your beliefs and your lifestyle and your attitude is your spirituality. When you incorporate all of those, all right, and having energy in these houses are what's going to help you see things. All right, it's what's going to help develop how you're able to incorporate a perception in life and perceptual facets and abilities. So whenever you have a cardinal MC, then this means that you're here to do big things in the world. You're here to open up doors in the world for yourself. Aries MCs should never work for someone, or in a 10th house, they should never work for someone, because they're their own boss. You know what I'm saying? Capricorn MCs is talking about you gaining power in this life that you probably give yourself. Libra MCs are political figures who they're here to socially impact people, and then Cancer MCs are very nurturing people. But not to really break down what each of them are, I want to really more so for the midheaven break down the states and how they influence things. So for those of you who have cardinal signs in the MC, this is speaking of you kind of, I'm trying to find the key word, but you do the world. You kind of do the world. You take action towards the world. And because this is a cardinal sign MC, this is saying you attain a persona. Cardinal sign MCs is you being successful based off of who you are, which is power. Because it's not really what you have. It's not like you're successful because you have all this money. It's because of who you are and what you do. The most powerful MCs, which is midheaven, which is your 10th house. MC equals midheaven, which equals 10th house. Okay. If you have a fixed sign MC, that means your legacy is meant to fix the world. So cardinal MCs, it's your legacy to be somebody. It's your legacy to be someone important, whether famous or infamous. All right. Fixed signs MCs are meant to fix the world. All right. Fixed sign midheavens, 10th houses, if you have it in Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, or Leo, you're meant to fix the world, literally. That means there's something that you're here to put back in order, or that means you're here to give the world a certain currency, right? I have my MC in Aquarius. So I'm here to fix the knowledge of the world, but more so, I'm here to connect the world and connect us all as friends, right? That's kind of like my legacy. It's a little corny, but it is what it is. My destiny's there too. And then If you have a mutable MC, then that means you're here to change the world. And you're here to show the world, well, not you have to show them, but you're here to give the world magic. That's like your public that's like your public legacy. And for those of you who are meant to change the world, if you have Gemini, Pisces, Sagittarius, or Virgo, you're meant to change certain facets. How you change it is up to you. Because just because you're meant to change the world doesn't mean you're going to change it in ways that help the world, but you're going to change a certain facet of the world. Fixed sign MCs, they're going to take something in the world and fix it to where it's solid. And then cardinal sign MCs, they're going to be and use their identity to move themselves forward into the world. Okay, so that being said, thank you very much, everybody, for joining this spiritual astrology webinar. This is but just a basic look into these signs, so that when I do the intermediate webinar and we get a little bit more in depth into this, you have already gotten some foundation, you already have learned the words. I really hope you enjoy this. A lot of you have said this was a lot of information, and trust me, the next one I do, I'm gonna have a PowerPoint slide ready, just so you know we're able to put this forward a lot more. So Nasia does ask, how does this all relate to progress charts? Which I will mention right now. Know that the intermediate webinar is going to go way deeper into progress charts, because you need this foundation in order to understand this. But for progressions, you want to take everything that I said and just apply it to your progress chart. So you'll know you might be an angel that's now progressed into Libra as an archangel. But as I did mention in a certain broadcast, there's certain things you cannot progress into, like witchcraft, right? That's exclusive. Anything that's cardinal is exclusive, save Libra and Aries, all right? High priest is exclusive. So even though I'm learning how to be a high priest, I'm really more so still a magi. It's really exclusive to Cancer. And as far as books, I recommend Astrology Realized by Nadia Shah. I would totally get that. And then, yeah, every other one you can progress into quite powerfully as well. And yeah, so another thing about that is when it comes to like the progressions of the energies, you want to be mindful about how potently, I'm expecting so that's why I have to be on. But you want to really be mindful of how potently the progressed energies really move when they kind of shift energies into another sign, as well as when the moon shifts energies to another sign. Deanne is asking about yods. I purposefully don't want to mention yods in this webinar because I'm going to save that for another webinar. Yods, as some like to say, the finger of God, it's going to incorporate a special angle where there's two signs, but in this webinar and also World War Zero video, I want to break down each yod. It's hard to quickly talk about a yod because it's a lot more deep and in depth, but for the purposes of this webinar, it's one of those more advanced techniques that it's not necessarily as important as may seem, because it's just going to really, once again, incorporate a whole lot of the energy that has already been, you know what I'm saying, broken down individually. But it's still very important. And when we talk about yods, you just want to look at where the energy is being focused to. That is going to add a lot more sharpening, like it's a sword, to that energy. Okay, so I'm open for Q&A. If I do not answer your question, worry not. I'm going to provide this email here below where you can definitely email your question. For some of you who may not be able to stay for the whole Q&A, you could just email the question at this website. Oops. yeah, the peace deal at mysticilluminations88.com, and yes. And other than that, the decan that Virgo is a herbalist is the Taurus decan. So the final decan, the last Virgos. But all Virgos are herbalists, but the master herbalists are the master Virgos from 20 to 29 degrees. Great question. How do you look at your progress chart? You look at your progress chart by going on astro.com, and let me show you, actually. Oops. I don't know if there's other stuff that may offer this, but astro.com for sure. This is like my go-to. So you just go to the chart type and you move down to progressed. You could do natal with the natal on the outer ring and progress in the middle, or just progressed, all right? And another thing about this, however, is going to speak to profoundly to how powerfully you're able to interpret the progressed based off of the states of what's going on. Nancy, yes, I want to make a special World War Zero about that, because the politics of the agreements and disagreements have changed, and I want to go more in depth to the history. So thanks for bringing that up, because it's very important to speak on, for sure, for sure. Oops. Yvonne asked, can you discuss the 29-degree Cap Sun, or maybe Sun trine Saturn? 29-degree Cap Sun is, of course, the mastery of Capricorn, sub-ruled by Mercury. But the trine to Saturn is actually even more potent, because it's now expressing with great control the manifestation and karma of what your sun is already aware of. So as to where some people may not necessarily be in a position to understand quite profoundly how deeply how their karma affects their actions, you're going to be super profoundly aware. And 29-degree Cap is just so much immense control, it's not even funny. So that's definitely very powerful, super powerful. And it's an initiation into the galactic cosmic awareness once it progresses into Aquarius. Carrie asks, could you go through your video and set starting points for different categories? As far as like the timestamps, I think you're asking. I might as well. It's definitely worth it. And if anybody watches this again, please email me if you end up doing it before I do. But yeah, it'd be definitely worth it for those of you who watch again, for sure. The pack of Yod looks like a sextile and a double quincunx. So let me show you. So let me see if we have any Yods available. This is technically a Yod. We have a sextile from Pluto and Neptune, and then they're both going down here to Leo. So it's like a mini triangle. Gemini, Leo, and Cap is a sextile. I mean a Yod. Scorpio, Virgo, and Scorpio, Virgo, and Aries is a sextile. And if you notice, what Yods incorporate are the three states. So a Yod is always going to happen between a cardinal, a fixed, and a mutable. So if you have more than one of each, then it's not a Yod. So keep that in mind as well. Let's see. Can you go over inconjunct angles? No, because I honestly am not too familiar with them, other than like the quincunx or like the semi-sextile. But inconjunct angles is all about timing. It's like taking two influences that don't really mesh and having them work together. But every inconjunct angle is different in each sign. That's why I can't just give you a textbook answer like this is what it is. Because an inconjunct between Taurus and Aries is nothing like Libra and Scorpio. Nothing at all. Nothing like Cancer and Gemini because of the states. So that's why I'm having you more know the states, because if you're aware of these fundamentals, it'll really help you, answer that. But a really good question. What do you think about the vertex? I'm obsessed with someone whose vertex is conjunct their Pluto, and my vertex. Vertex is like a second ascendant, as I've read, but it's really like another karmic fated indicator. The vertex in astrology is going to key you in to, so it's more important for transits. Like when Mars conjuncted my vertex in Libra, when it was transiting there, I was aware of someone that had their north node there. So you always want to look at transits to the vertex because they will trigger things based on what house there are. So good question. I got a Taurus sun and Aqua moon and rising. You mentioned the connotation of royalty with fixed signs. Can you explain? Well, having a Taurus sun and Aqua moon and rising, the explanation of the royalty is just going to bring about the fixed sign energy because you have the currency. If you think about royalty, kingdoms have all the material. You know, the king, people are going to go travel country to go to the king and queen to either get knowledge like they did from King Solomon, or they'll get all sorts of like gold in abundance like they would from a rich king or queen. But there's a royalty that comes to being a fixed sign, and it's hard to explain. It would really, this comes with your life experience too. The Taurus and Aqua is going to be like a grounded royal ruler, incorporating the macro of the cosmos with the micro of everything that's real. But you individually are going to define how you express this royalty. But it's just like a cookie cutter thing. You just want to know royalty is with fixed. And this has to do with how you carry yourself. This is why I say mutable signs are more like princes and princes, because princesses and princes, because we're kind of all over the place. We don't have much responsibility. And then of course, Cardinal would be like royal as well, but just more in an executive sense. Okay. How does it relate to draconic placements? Same thing. I don't really acknowledge draconic astrology though. Yeah, I'm not really into that. I don't want to dismiss it. Maybe there's legit draconic astrology, but I never use the chart, so it would be hard for me to advise. But you could take those same principles and apply it to the draconic placements as well. Okay. I have Sun and Moon in opposition at the 15 mark of Cancer and Cap. Is that significant? Yes, I'm going through the progressed. My progressed Sun is in Cancer, my progressed Moon is in Cap. So this is just going to really speak of the crystallization of your psychic ability. And that Sun Moon opposition is potent because your spirit and soul are tapping in to that crystallization so powerfully to where you have to incorporate both of those elements. All right. The Pratt Pack, good question, because I was thinking about that right now. I'm not sure what I'm about to have. I'm really not sure. That's a really good question. And yeah, I'm contemplating if I should have some junk food because it's just nice and convenient, or if I should at least like go eat something nice and not junk. We'll see. Jeremy asked, if I have a 0-degree moon in Cap, do I have any influence from the previous sign? Good question. Technically, that's 30 degrees Sagittarius, but with energy like that, I always move forward. So you want to be more Cap dominant. And if this was the magic here with Cuss, fire is going to be a lot more dominant than Earth. So you will feel a bit of the Sag. But honestly, I feel more so it won't have that much of an influence unless it was like really just coming out of Sag. But you may feel differently. Maybe you feel that 30-degree Sag that's so wild it's controlled itself at 0-degree Cap. Mm-hmm. Am I still doing the 33-day ritual? No, I'm not gonna lie. I think after like the first 6 days, I fell off. 4 days, yeah. So I have to restart that. And I'm actually going to start today because the moon is in Pisces. So I'm doing the Pratt Pack. I was gonna say my dinner tonight is a ritual. Like, man, take some stuff and drink some stuff and ritual it up. But yeah, Carrie asked, 0-degree Cap on Neptune in the 9th house, seeing how we are at Neptune right now. Wow. That's amazing. It has everything to do with seeing really what's behind the veil too. So that's awesome. Ellen asks, Venus conjunct Venus in Cap Synastry and North Node conjunct my MC Sun Mars series best of. The Venus Cap conjunction is going to link both of your hearts, and it's going to make you love the same things and have the same taste. And then, of course, his destiny is going to uncover your legacy and your awareness and spirit and actions. Sirius Vesta, I mean, that's going to be personal. You're better off like tapping them in because there's not really that much information to really like explain. But what's more relevant than any of that is the MC Sun conjunction to the North Node. That means you're empowering his destiny with your goals. And it's good that your hearts are linked. Can you talk about Sun Libra 22 degrees conjunct Mars, Libra 29 degrees in the 11th house? Well, the Sun Libra conjunct Mars Libra in that decan is going to give you a powerful ability to analytically and logically express and communicate yourself. Mars 29 degrees Libra is so potent, especially in the 11th, because you're able to act off on all the individual ways other people are acting, and this just effortlessly has you flow in political, social situations to where you know just the right person to talk to, and the sun is going to make you very aware of the actions you're taking and how you're balancing it with what other people do. It's really extraordinarily gangster because of the 11th house influence. So it's going to help you act off on ways that you can use other people or balance other people to really, you know, manifest a whole lot. Sag Warrior asks, can you comment North Node 9 degrees Capricorn? I have Uranus 8 degrees, so that's cool. But a 9-degree North Node in Capricorn is going to be an action degree. This is going to be a destiny where, unlike Aries, where you can just do what you want, there's discipline required, and you're destined for greatness. North Node and Caps are destined for great things, and this is going to have a lot to do with taking the responsibility of the actions you are presented to take based on the decisions that you make to really help ascend you to a higher level in life. And the influence of Capricorn being there with the North Node is going to really, through the hard work you do, build integrity with the positions of authority you gain. Because all North Nodes and Capricorns are destined for greatness to attain some position of authority. And this doesn't mean that it's wildly recognized, but that's what's the power of it. You take it as far as you go, you build it yourself. All right. How long have I been studying astrology? Since 2012. It just kind of called me. Like, it was like, you must walk this path. And I was like, no. And it was like, yes. And I was like, no. And it was like, yes. And I was like, okay. After I got my reading, I was like, whoa, hell yeah. But yeah, since like 2012. So I would say it's almost 5 years now. Oh my God. Polyphony, I have Uranus and Neptune in 6th house, Mars in Virgo 2nd house, and Taurus MC. Possible vocations. Great question. So a lot of this Earth and 2nd house stuff will do well for producing things materially and physically from your hands. Taurus MCs are great for anything to do with production, whether working for a production company in all fields or being a producer yourself, where the legacy you're going to gain is how the things you make produce what you do. And I'm going to send the email again for someone who asked. The Peace Dealer at Mystic Illuminations 88.com. The peacedealer.com, the peacedealer at gmail.com is more personal. So I'm shifting more to this company email. So I'll be able to really like spread over there. But yeah, possible vocations, especially with Virgo 2nd house energy. This has really good to do with welding, stuff that you make physically, but it also can go into service and sharing. One good thing about earth signs and earth houses, it lends well to being an employee and to working towards causes that you like. But Taurus MC could be anywhere from a producer to a producer of certain cottons to a producer of certain metals. You have to make things. You can make things as a teacher. You could be a teacher with the Taurus MC that's going to teach your students to have value. So you're making greater self-esteem within people. Okay. Oh, crap. Oh, nice. So What's up? Well, a Virgo stellium in the first house, Virgo rising, ton of retrograde as well. Oh, all that Virgo energy just makes you super angelic, and it makes you susceptible to being used because you are the experience of physical work, and this is real magic. So a Virgo stellium makes you a walking kindness, and you want to be careful about where you extend and move forward with this, because with your presence, details and the facts of things other people will just be aware of. That's the magic nature of it. And then of course they may not always know because they don't have your awareness. So this is kind of what that'll do, and it'll bring you to places that you need to fix mutably, with how you can change and adjust them in the right way. The retrograde influence is not going to be as important as opposed to the transing retrogrades that will really stick with stuff for you. But all that Virgo energy, it's not the easiest. It's a karmic sign, so it's like having a lot of Pisces. You're both very sensitive. Having a Cap rising, Scorpio sun, and Venus Leo moon. How should I serve my Aquarius North Node? Oh, Scorpio sun and Venus. Okay. How should I serve my Aquarius North Node? Good question. So having a Cap rising, serving your Aquarius North Node is just being authentically you. Like the Spark Notes version, if you have an Aqua North Node, be weird, be different, be you. And so you want to bring out that Scorpio energy. It squares your Scorpio. So you're gonna feel like you don't want to make knowledgeable certain occult things, but make sure you flex your Leo moon and you shine your light, because you have that South Node feeling of knowing what you're bringing to the Aqua North Node, which is that creativity of your soul. So you just have to be weird and be you. It's amazing. Shout out to Crystal's cat that has not left. And you're very welcome, Essence. You're very welcome. Which housing system do I use? I used to use Placidus, but now I use Equal. And Equal, I use because it just breaks down every house in the same way. I don't like when I look at some chart. I don't believe in intercepted house cusp. They're real, but only in a mental sense to if you see it as real. I've actually, through experience, seen how like every house has a cusp, and the Equal put the same degree as every cusp. So it's just kind of more convenient, but also it circumvents someone having like 1, 2, 3, 4 houses in one sign, which is not even real. The Placidus will mess it up because of some time zone areas, so this rectifies that. Oh my gosh, I get the point, get the picture. My spirit guides are like, let's go, peace dealer. And I'm like, chill. Micah asked, oh, Shula asked, can you go into what you know about Juno? Juno is a planet of commitment. Juno is also the wifey as well, whereas Lilith is the mistress. So Juno will show you where you're really committed. I have my Juno in Scorpio. So someone who's very deep, someone who's very sexual, and someone who has that like scorpionic energy is going to really make me feel not safe, but it's going to want me to commit that much more. But of course, the aspects it makes to others, it will make it beyond more commitment. But Juno also tells you the energy that is going to sponsor the marriage you have. So you have to talk to Juno in your chart, and I'll make a video series about that to really go in depth. What if you have a Pisces sun with a Taurus moon? Does that mean you're a princess with a queen soul? That's not a silly question. That's not a silly question. That's a good question. So yes, that means you're a divine princess with the soul of a queen. Like, I don't have a Taurus sun, but my Mercury is in Taurus. So even though I am, you know, air prince, you know what I'm saying? I have the mind of a king. So this is how you can incorporate. I love like a king too, because my Venus is in Taurus. So this is how you can incorporate the certain facets of the planets and see, okay, do I have magic? Do I have a fixed mind? I have a mind of love, but I have a spirit that's magic, but I have a soul of power. And you can mix and match these things. So great question, Monica, because it's definitely true. All right. Carrie asks, planetary placements, what's happening? I feel anxiety. It's more than those planets, my friend. What's happening is life is happening, and Saturn is getting ready to move out your sign. So that anxiety is coming because Saturn is in Sagittarius, and it's going to stay there until it gets out your sign. but the anxiety is also coming because of the Gemini transit as well. Tiki Cottis asks, what about sidereal? No, I'm just joking. Sidereal is more so for ages, and it's more so for the constellation. And that's what makes it flawed, because sidereal follows a constellation. Western astrology follows the equinoxes. So you can use sidereal and it'll be accurate if you're talking about ages at a time, or if you're doing the astrology of places outside this geocentric world. If you're doing personal astrology, sidereal is misleading. So there's a lot of people who resonate with their Vedic and sidereal. I can't vouch for that. I can't vouch for that. A lot of it is progressed. I personally don't believe it. Like, I don't think it's even accurate. And it confuses a lot of people because then they see what they want to see. But I'm not going to take that power away from you. If it's accurate for you, then it's accurate for you. But so far, from my experience, it's really just a different sect of astro. I have no idea what the Cinderella transit is. And my ask, what happens when the North Node, and everyone has a progressed chart, Crystal. My ask, what happens when the North Node transits your descendant and the South Node transits your ascendant? Oh, great question. The North Node transiting your descendant is now opening up the karma of your relationships by uncovering the past life of who you used to be, so that you're destined to attract people who bring out certain facets of your early childhood plus past lives that you're ready to integrate through karma in your relationships. Very good question. Okay. Tiki asks, I got nothing in the 6th and 12th house. Is that okay? That's more than okay, because if a house is empty, it's given room for potential to be malleable. So yeah, you don't have focus there, but now it could be whatever, as much as you depend it, versus if it has a planet and you have to stick with that. How do you know when it's a good time astrologically to start the 30-day ritual? Your intuition will tell you. I like to wait from new moons to full moons, but it by no means has to do that. You can do it when it's on a horrible day, but your intuition tells you. So every day is a good time astrologically to start the 30-day ritual. Great question. But, you know, I like to follow the lunar cycles. So if there's a good contact, you want the intention. So the intention for me for this 30-day ritual is to connect deeper with spirit, right? So I'm going to now do it that the moon is on Neptune. It's a good day to start. But Chrissy asks, rising sign, 27 degrees Gem, sun 5 degrees Libra. Every one of my houses has majority cusp in action. What this means is that it opens up the doorway for a lot of dynamic energy that you are aware of. I'm not sure what you mean by majority cusp, to be honest, but the placements that you speak of have a lot to do with this energy in your chart opening the doorways for a lot greater awareness and power over what you're directly responsible for. Whereas opposed to if you didn't have this majority action, things would just happen to you. You're the one that has the power over it. So definitely powerful and definitely positive. And yes, Jeremy, the intermediate webinar will go over the decans of other planets as well. Definitely. The significance of the 29th degree is a degree of mastery. I have a 29-degree Mercury, and it's the reason why I'm successful. My sister has a 29-degree Mercury in Gemini. So as a Cancer, she was like, I want a 4.0. I want to do this, and she got it. I was like, I want a 4.0, but I'm lazy, so I couldn't even finish my homework the other day. You know what I'm saying? So 29 degrees in a sign is the mastery of that energy. All right, and this is where no one has to teach you anything. They even say it's a past life thing as well, that you might have bridged this. So it's definitely very possible. Are you able to speak on what makes Capricorn the last life? I'm not sure. I don't remember mentioning it, but I think what I meant to say was that Capricorn is the last sign for ascension. Like, once you get up the mountain, then you ascend through Aquarius into heaven, into Pisces. But yeah, if I remember it though, I'll mention it for sure. And thank you all for joining. I'm going to leave right now. And please make sure you email if you need a question answered. Can you talk about Uranus and Neptune conjunct the 12th house in Capricorn? Supernatural psychic power that's going to be further developed after your Saturn return, and then after Jupiter goes over there. You have to have complete faith in your intuition, because this is bringing in realms of existence greater than what you can see. But as you get older, you'll learn how to master this, because it's in Capricorn, the sign of mastery. And make sure you email me if you have any questions. If you've already asked a question, then I'm not going to answer it, because I just want to make sure those who haven't gotten their questions answered haven't answered. But yeah. North Node at 0 degrees with yours in Taurus, it's just, you just want to, it's still the same as the sign. So North Node 0 degrees is the same as if it's in 6 degrees. It's just the quality of it will be more like a wild card, but it's still going to be like progressing forward. Well, that's not true. If you have a 0 degree North Node in Taurus, that means in your progress chart, it's going to progress into Aries. So that's a really good question, because your destiny is actually going to go from fixed to cardinal. So you're going to have a fixed destiny that's now switched to a cardinal, and now you have to kind of balance both of those. Great question. And once again, thank you so much for joining. I really hope you enjoyed this webinar. I really do hope to keep up the great work. Y'all are amazing. And until next time, my friends.